boy, shit, what you want me to prove?
Spacey got the swords on.
What's going on, No Cap crew? If you're watching the replay, always remember you can support the channel by sending a super thanks. That's the heart shape with the $sign in it right below the video if you're watching the replay. Let's get it.
Spacey got the swords on. Spacey got the swords on. Spacey got the swords on.
Video with your boy Freezy. Join in tonight. No captivity. Only the boss motherfucking bitches fuck with motherfucking Freezy. No captivity. Get into it.
Sauce boy, shit, what you want me to prove?
Spacey got the swords on. Spacey got the swords on. Spacey got the swords on.
Cap-tivity with your boy Freezy. Join in tonight. No Cap-tivity. Only the boss motherfucking bitches fuck with motherfucking Freezy. No Cap-tivity. Get into it.
Sauce boy shit, what you want me to prove?
Spacey got the sauce on. Spacey got the sauce on.
Shout out to the early No Cap crew in the building. Shout out to all the mods. Shout out to everybody that hit the like button so far. I appreciate you.
Spacey got the sauce on.
Are black men under attack? Are black men the most demonized men in the media? Talk about it tonight. I think we should talk about it in sincerity. It's about time.
Spacey got the sauce on.
Shout out to everybody in the building. If you haven't checked out the video on demand that we released on Monday, make sure y'all check it out in your spare time. If you're watching the replay, you could always support the channel by sending a super thanks. That's the heart shape with the $sign in it. I want to remind all the mods, we do have a new cash cap. We do have a new cash cap, and I will be announcing that again as soon as the live stream starts.
Spacey got the sauce on.
times in our life.
You got time to sing on it. You sing.
We all have pain.
So man, you gonna sing it.
We all have sorrow. Then I look at Wayne and I know that he will be ugly tomorrow. Lean on me when you're my cousin and I'll be your friend. I help you carry on, for it won't be long that I'm gonna need my cousin to care.
No captivity. Freezy, freezy.
What up? You are officially locked into No Captivity with Freezy, where we tackle issues that sometimes have us trapped in this thing that we call life. But if you know me, you know my motto. To free yourself, you must heal yourself. And if you rock with your dog, please hit that like and subscribe button hard right now. And also comment and share this video. That is if you rock with your boy Freezy.
No captivity.
Damn. What's going on with the No Cap crew? Shout out to everybody that settled on in. Appreciate the early No Cap crew being here. Yep. We got some more Diddy news. Also, I want to discuss something that's been on my mind, right? And that's centered around what's been coming out about Diddy. There's also a documentary underway about Chris Brown. Also, right, there's also a documentary on the way about R. Kelly. As if we haven't seen enough documentaries about R. Kelly. But the reason why I want to discuss this is because, yes, I've given my opinions about Diddy and all of the things that he's been accused of doing. We read pretty much all the details of the 14-page indictment. And even from the video that we seen when we seen him ferociously attacking Cassie, I just felt like that was not only shameful, but it was very barbaric. And I didn't approve of that at all, right? I didn't approve of that. Now, since Diddy's been in jail, and every time a black celebrity goes in jail, we always hear the same thing. We always hear, especially from a sector of black people, they say that that's just how it is for black people, especially black men, right? That's how black men get treated. You know, a lot of times we get treated unfairly in comparison to white men. And so what I wanted to dive into is tonight, I wanted to dive into, is that the case? Are black men under attack? Are black men under attack? That's what I want to dive into tonight, right? We know we have a large majority of black men that, I don't know if it's majority. I haven't even looked at the stats, but I know we have a large number of black men that grew up in impoverished neighborhoods, that grew up in the hood, right? Grew up in unfair conditions. And we know if we looking for black men to be leaders, black men being in the best environments possible is the best possibility of a black man having a fighting chance of being the best leader he could be, right? Does anybody disagree with that? that's why kids that go to charter schools tend to do better than kids that go to public schools. Tend to, not in all cases, right? How you grew up, what's your foundation, it really does matter, or doesn't it? It really does matter. How your parents set you up for success, how your parents set you up for the future, doesn't that matter? So if black men are supposed to be the leaders of today's society, does it matter what kind of beginnings that they had? Should we also incorporate that in the outcome that we see, especially from these black men that have been in front of the limelight on media and social media? Should we take that into consideration? Well, that's what we're going to talk about tonight.
No captivity.
That's what we're going to talk about tonight. I see my friends and my families, my brothers and sisters in the chat. It's about time to do a roll call. Let's go ahead and do a roll call. Before we do that,
Super chat.
I want to acknowledge my dog, my brother, Logic. Logic is in the building, man. And you know we fuck with Logic heavy. Thank you, Logic, for the $20 super cap, man. I really appreciate that, dog. Shout out to Logic, man, aka Keep It Funky in real life. In real life. Okay, and he lived by that name. Shout out to my dog, Logic, man. I appreciate you, Logic. Thank you, bro. And Logic is the first sponsor of tonight's show. Shout out to Logic, man.
No captivity.
Logic brought out the sponsorship guy too. Let's go ahead and put Logic on the board, on the sponsorship board. Shout out to last show sponsor, Living Humbly, man. Thank you, Living Humbly. I appreciate you, bro. There we go. Logic is the sponsor of tonight's show. Logic is the first sponsor of tonight's show, right? With a total of $20. And also, listen, thank you to everybody that hit the like button so far. I really appreciate you. It really does go a long way. And to support this channel and to support stories of this magnitude, more importantly, if you would like your comments read and highlighted, just like my dog Logic just did, you can either send a super cap, aka super chat, or you can send a cash cap, aka cash app to $Freezy 1976. That's $Freezy 1976, and I appreciate you.
No captivity.
I really do, dog. Shout out to Logic again, man.
Super chat.
Shout out to my brother Logic for the $10 super cap, man. Back to back. He said Fanny P the op.
No captivity.
He said Fanny P is the op. You know Fanny, hey Logic, you know Fanny finna have a comeback for your ass. You already know that. It's about time for that roll call. Shout out to PJ Austin in the building. Reminding y'all to be sure to hit that like button on the way in. Show some love. Shout out to PJ Austin in the building. I appreciate you, PJ. Shout out to Dr. Frizzle Frost in the building. He say Freezy and No Cap Crew, what it do? Salute to Dr. Frizzle Frost. Make sure y'all subscribe.
No captivity.
Shout out to Uyaham X. He say Shalom, all tuned in for a great show tonight. Let's go. Shalom, Uyaham X. It's always good to see you, bro.
No captivity.
Shout out to Jobo Knot in the building. Say salute Freeze and salute right back to
No
you, bro. Thank
captivity.
you. Man, shout out to my dog Logic one more time. He say no cap. Let's get it, man.
No captivity.
Salute to Logic. Shout out to our dear sister, one of our favorites, Fanny P. She said, hey, Freezy and chat. Shout out to Fanny P.
No captivity.
Shout out to Mr. Midnight in this thing. He say, salute Freezy and the No Cap Crew. Salute, bro.
No captivity.
Mr. Midnight Deep brother, man. And shout out to our sister, Travel One. Forgive me, Travel One. Shout out to our sister, Travel One. She said, greetings to Freezy and her No Captivity chatters. Travel has an opinion on the topic, yet black men are going to have a look within and fix themselves. Is God your leader? Shout out to Travel One.
No
Travel One got
captivity.
questions. Shout out to Fear No Mortals in the building. Feel no more to say salute, Freezy, and chat.
No captivity.
Blessings, sis. I really appreciate you. And remind y'all, make sure y'all hit that like button. Just like I said, just like PJ said.
No captivity.
Make sure y'all hit that like button. So, here's the deal, right? I released a video on demand on Monday because Dame Dash insinuated that, well, he gave a hint that he heard that Jay-Z was going to get picked up next year in connection to this Diddy freak off debacle. This is what Dame Dash said. He said that Jay-Z is going to get picked up next year. And if this is true, we know more than Jay-Z is going to get picked up. We know a lot of celebrities have been very quiet on this case. Since your boy Diddy done got arrested and clamped and put in one of the worst jails in Brooklyn. Shout out to my sister, Sugar Bomb in DB.
No captivity.
Shalom sis, shout out to Mo Love. She say Freezy, shout out to Mo Love.
No captivity.
Hold on, what Sugar Bomb say? I forgot to hear. She said, hey Freezy, why y'all black men always victims?
No captivity.
Sugar Bomb already with the shits. Y'all already with the shit. Yo, so we know P. Diddy got arrested. When P. Diddy got arrested, there have been a percentage of black men and black women, just to be fair, say the system is against us. They're treating P. Diddy unfairly in comparison to white men that have done the same thing way before P. Diddy even came in the industry. This has been going on for a long time in the industry. So there are people that's sympathetic to P. Diddy's dilemma, his situation that he's found himself in. Also, there's a new documentary coming out about Chris Brown, which I'm going to show you guys the trailer. They just won't let this stuff die. Physical abuse. Chris Brown, he's already received a bunch of backlash throughout the course of his career. Chris Brown has been heavily criticized. Now, he's been pushing forward, but nevertheless, he's been heavily criticized. Okay? People have been trying to end his career. And this came at the height of the Me Too movement, right? R. Kelly. And the list goes on and on. R. Kelly is serving what? Damn near 30 years right now? Okay, and he's still screaming from the prison walls saying that he has been treated unfairly, and he commented on your boy Diddy's situation as well. He said they did Diddy wrong, they doing Diddy wrong, and they did him wrong. And they picking on black men. Now, when I really sat back and tried to take a look at it, right? We talk about marriage. We talk about politics. We talk about finances, economics, and we talk about the conditions that black men are victim to ever since a little kid, right? Is it fair? Is it fair? Is it fair to just point out at the end of the road, once they reach their demise, once they do all of this foolery and get caught up doing all this damn foolery, once they get arrested, given all this damn time, right? I'm talking about they catching elbows. Y'all know what an elbow is? That's an L. Life in prison. That prison talk, y'all. Once they reach their demise, is it fair to only acknowledge their deviant, demonic ways and things that they actually got convicted of or potentially can get convicted of? Is it fair to just talk about that? Or should we actually look at the scope of how young black boys are growing up, the conditions that they are subject to and have been subject to. Me, myself included, your boy Freezy, been subject to some horrendous conditions growing up. Yeah, I grew up in the hood too. And I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all grew up in the hood. Have we actually broke down how unfair, how much of an unfair start young black kids actually have growing up in neighborhoods like that? Have we actually talked about and thought about the psychological conditions that we actually grow up under? Black kids, we talk about kids, black kids cracking on each other, and that's just a norm, right? We talk about black kids cracking on each other, and that's just our culture. Is cracking on each other actually hating on each other, or is that just good, clean fun? I want to put a microscope on how black men grew up. I want to put a microscope on how R. Kelly grew up. I want to put a microscope on how P. Diddy grew up. I want to put a microscope on how Chris Brown grew up. Right? And then this goes on and on. And I know it's reciprocal on the woman's side too, because we always criticize Sexy Red. We always criticize Nicki Minaj, right? Cardi B. We always criticize these people. Today we're going to deal with black men. We're going to kind of hint on black women too. But the reason why I wanted to deal with black men is because black men are supposed to be the leaders of the community, right? Is that, I'm saying, am I lying? Is that the truth? Shout out to my sister. Super chat. More love for the $5 super cap. She said, blessings to you always. And the same right back to you, Mo Love. Thank you. And shout out to Mo Love. Make sure y'all subscribe to Mo Love's channel. Mo Love be uplifting my spirits consistently, always. It never fails. Every time I look at one of Mo Love videos, especially her shorts, she's always uplifting my spirits. And I would suggest that you guys do the same. Look at her shorts, man. You will not regret it. Shout out to Mo Love. Thank you for helping us keep the lights on, Mo Love. I really appreciate you. And I forgot to change Logic's sponsorship to $30. Let's see. There you go, Logic. $30, not $20. Shout out to Logic for being the official sponsor of tonight's show. In order to be co-sponsor or sponsor of tonight's show, it has to be either $30 or more. Thanks to your boy Logic. Shout out to Logic for representing. I appreciate you, Logic. Thank you, bro. Also, shout out to my brother. I think I seen the World Class in the building.
No Cap-tivity.
Shout out to the World Class. And like I always say, it's a privilege to know the World Class, to know an individual so intelligent. Shout out to the World Class. I am subscribed to the World Class channel, and I urge you guys to do the same. He say, Freezer, what's up? Just chilling, dog. You already know what it is. Another day.
No Cap-tivity.
Anybody else came through the door? Okay, that's it. So I'm gonna show y'all some trailers, man. I seen these trailers. I cannot believe it. Just seemed like as soon as P. Diddy got arrested, and this is how Hollywood is. This is how the entertainment world is, right? As soon as P. Diddy got arrested, it just seemed like somebody had the bright idea to just come out with documentaries about other black male entertainers, right? Like Chris Brown, like I said, Chris Brown, and they coming out with another one about R. Kelly, about how this one here is about his kids. This one here is about his kids. And when I seen it, it was so unbelievable that they still finna come out with another documentary about R. Kelly. They gonna drive this into the ground. Is this on purpose? Did these black men bring this upon themselves? The one about Chris Brown is about physical abuse and how he has a pattern of physical abuse. They're saying that basically saying that Chris Brown is a damn monster.
This one here for the thug.
This next, and where did Chris Brown? They just came out of nowhere with this damn documentary. And all of us gonna watch it. Come on, let's just be honest. All of us gonna watch the damn documentary. We always do. We always do. So we're gonna go over here to Instagram. I got a couple of videos saved too that I want to show y'all on Instagram. First things first. First things first. Has anybody seen the video on demand that I released on Monday? If y'all ain't seen that, I'm gonna just show y'all. I'm gonna show y'all the beginning of this video with Dame Dash. Dame Dash actually hinted that Jay-Z is gonna get picked up next year. He actually hinted that. Let me show y'all this video right here.
It doesn't feel good. I don't want to see someone that maybe we had like a bullshit disagreement where I don't want to see them die or be tortured. I'm not going to celebrate the pain of anybody, any human being, even if they deserve it.
What do you think about the way they're portraying Jay right now?
You know, to be honest, I really hope, like, the things that they're saying are like, they're terrible. Like, I'd be like, yo, it's hard for me to even think that any of those things can be true. I don't want them to be true. Like, you know, they saying they're gonna pick him up next year. I don't want to see that man go to jail next year. I don't want them to be true. Like, you know, they saying they're gonna pick him up next year. I don't want to see that man go to jail. Pick him up next year. I don't want to see that man go to jail. You know, they saying they're gonna pick him up next year. I don't want to see that man go to jail.
No Cap-tivity.
There you go. Dame Dash saying they're gonna pick Jay-Z up next year. Who is they, Dame Dash? Who is they? Apparently, Dame Dash got the inside scoop that Jay-Z he's gonna get locked up. Ain't that's gonna look, I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. That's gonna seem so crazy if the camera's all in front of Jay-Z at his house and they walking Jay-Z out with some handcuffs, right? Jay-Z always presented himself as a guy that's just above all that stuff. He's always presented himself as that type of guy. It's just kind of hard to see Jay-Z in handcuffs. If Jay-Z go in handcuffs, that just let you know right there, them crackers don't give a damn about none of y'all.
No Cap-tivity.
Not saying that Jay-Z is special. Shout out to the 19 people that hit the like button. Not saying that Jay-Z is special enough. I'm just saying it's just the, you know, it's Jay-Z, the Jigga Man. He too cool for himself. You feel what I'm saying? Oh, yeah. This is what I also wanted to touch on. I also want to touch on, we talk about black men, right? The new struggle that black men are going through is black men on the DL too. Black men on the DL. Remember I said that. Black men on the DL. But let me show y'all these trailers. Let me show y'all these trailers about R. Kelly, Chris Brown, and P. Diddy. They already got a trailer about P. Diddy on Tubi. I think we're gonna see that. We're gonna watch that whole documentary about P. Diddy. I think it's called The Diddy Indictment. We're gonna watch that in our Discord on Sunday in the No Cap Movies voice chat. That's what we're gonna watch that. I'm already saying it. If y'all haven't seen the Diddy indictment documentary, the downfall of Diddy, I think that's what it's called, the downfall of Diddy. We're gonna see that on the Discord, on our Discord on Sunday at 8 o'clock, right? In No Cap Movies. That's what we're gonna watch. If y'all ain't seen it yet, right? And we always on Tubi, so you know, it just fall right in line.
Super chat.
Shout out to Kia. Shout out to Kia. Oh man, shout out to my sister Kia. In the building, she said, hey Freezy. Shout out to Kia.
No Cap-tivity.
So good. Thank you, Kia. I appreciate you. Thank you, Kia. I appreciate you. Shout out to Kia, man. In the building. So let's look at this first trailer with R. Kelly, y'all. Now, when I seen this, I was like, ain't no way in the hell they still keeping this R. Kelly stuff up. But they is. They is. Watch this. Let me blow it up a little bit. So this is R. Kelly's daughter. R. Kelly's daughter, Joanne Kelly, speaks out in new doc. I will not take my son to a prison to meet his grandfather. So she's adamant. She says she's not going to take her son to meet the son's grandfather and also her father, R. Kelly. This is R. Kelly's daughter, Joanne Kelly. Y'all check this out.
So R. Kelly's daughter, Buku Abi, whose real name is Joanne Kelly, she spoke out in support of her father's accusers in a lengthy Instagram post. So she claims to be devastated.
And today R. Kelly was sentenced to prison for his many crimes against underage girls.
Nobody wants to be the child of the father that is out here hurting women and children.
Everywhere. So if your daughter said it's just, to all the naysayers that say R. Kelly didn't do that shit, they shouldn't have R. Kelly locked up. If your daughter's saying, man, you did this shit to women and children and you need to be locked up, and you calling your own daddy a monster, you know, it's kind of hard to say R. Kelly didn't deserve prison time, right? It's kind of hard to say he didn't deserve prison time, right? This is a new documentary, y'all. I'm just letting y'all know, just for the newcomers that came on in. This is a new documentary.
Here we go, everything we do.
This is his son, Robert Kelly Jr. This is R. Kelly Jr. Yeah, and he got a mouth ring too. He a little different. Just letting y'all know.
It's always gonna have some type of like double meaning under it.
A bottom lip ring, yeah.
Or someone's gonna read between lines that aren't there.
He knows exactly why we can't have the relationship that we would have liked to have with him.
Just because you're not a good husband doesn't mean you can't be a good father. And the fact that he didn't even try. What he did to me, he did to me. But you didn't have to do it to me.
Do y'all believe that R. Kelly deserves not to see his grandkids? Do y'all believe that his daughter is well within her rights? Not well within her rights, but do y'all think she's right for making the decision to not take her daughter to see her granddaddy? Do y'all think she's right?
What he has done to those kids, there is no other word for him. He's a monster.
I know that there were so many things going on.
See, when I look at stuff like this, I have to tell myself, R. Kelly has a beginning. R. Kelly grew up and he experienced certain things, man. I ain't gonna lie. I had to open myself up, no Diddy, right? I had to open myself up and be more open-minded as far as like what R. Kelly experienced when he was a kid. Right? We're gonna talk about it a little bit more.
There were some times I thought I wouldn't make it. He was my everything. For a long time, I didn't even want to believe that it happened. I didn't know that even if he was a bad person, that he would do something to me.
Wait, hold on. What she said? Do something to her? Did she just say that? Wait, R. Kelly ain't do nothing to her, did she? Did he? Hold on, man.
Be as truthful as possible.
Let me start. Let me let this play over.
I really feel like that 1 millisecond completely just changed my whole life. If my son asks questions,
Well, I gotta watch that. I gotta watch that clip again, y'all. Hold on. Cause this might be some new information. Is she saying that R. Kelly did something to her? The daughter saying that?
He has done to those kids. There is no other word for him. He's a monster.
I know that there were so many things going on. There were some times I thought I wouldn't make it.
he was my everything. For a long time, I didn't even want to believe that it happened. I didn't know that even if he was a bad person, that he would do something to me.
What is she saying? Is she saying he did something to her, or he could potentially do something? I don't know. Y'all got to help me out.
But I would not be taking my son to a prison to meet his grandfather.
Sometimes it was easy to not say anything.
So this is the new documentary that's coming out about R. Kelly. They ain't letting up. The man caught 30 years and they still pounding on his ass. And no Diddy.
It's win for the thug.
They still going hard. And they don't give a damn. You know what I'm saying? Like they're imagine if you was R. Kelly and you're in prison and you see this trailer and you keep being reminded of how much of a monster you are. And then not only that, they got your daughter and your granddaughter on camera. They're using them also to paint a picture of how much of a monster you are. Imagine how you would feel as somebody in jail, in prison, serving 30 years. Yeah, that's torture.
No captivity.
That's torture. Shout out to Vic, the heart in the building. What's going on, Vic?
No captivity.
Going on, Vic. So that is not the only documentary that's coming out. Like I told y'all, they already came out with the Diddy documentary. I think it's called The Downfall of Diddy. I think it's called The Downfall of Diddy. And they trying to, let me tell y'all something. I was talking to my homeboy, my brother, well, we was texting today, and we do have a difference of opinion. He was saying that he feels as though black people are helping white people out to give Diddy a stronger conviction. We should not be throwing all this extra criticism on Diddy. Now, I kind of understand where you're coming from, but it's like we're in a rock and a hard place with Diddy, right? Like, you know, when you don't approve of what Diddy has been found out allegedly what he was doing, when you don't approve of it, what do? Do you sit back idle and not say nothing? Or do you voice your opinion? Do you sit by idle just to protect the black image and black people and the image of black people? Or do you say we don't care about all that? You know what I'm saying? If this man did all these atrocities, no, we need to speak out. What do? Do you speak out against this guy? You know what I'm saying? Because I can understand how you could be hanged by public opinion. right? You could be tried by public opinion. I understand what you're saying. I understand what my homeboy was saying. But this is the damn documentary right here. I don't know if y'all seen it yet, but we're gonna watch it this Sunday on Tubi. Right? Let me show y'all this documentary. Here it is right here.
This is the type of indictment you would expect from someone in the mafia.
I don't know that I could keep him off the stand. He is very eager to tell his story.
They're going to show that video over and over and over about what happened.
Y'all, these documentaries is big business. They're going to make millions of dollars off these documentaries. They're not coming out with these documentaries out the blue just because they want to be good Samaritans and they trying to get the word out. No, they're capitalizing off of black people. Yes, Fear No Motors, I see your comment. They also, 50 Cent is capitalizing off of it too, you know. I guess he said if the white folks making money off these ninjas, we should make money too. Right? This is the downfall of Diddy.
To women that won't change their stories.
His reputation is over.
The United States government, they start making this case as a takedown of a successful black man.
TMZ presents The Downfall of Diddy, The Indictment, now streaming on Tubi.
And this is the last trailer I'm finna show y'all. This is the last trailer. Chris Brown. Chris Brown has been able to shift and move, stick and move a lot of the physical abuse allegations. I forget exactly when those physical abuse allegations actually stem from. What was the beginning when he got accused of physically abusing Rihanna? When did he get accused? When was the first year he got accused? Let me see. That's when he started going through all that. Let me see. When first was Chris Brown's physical abuse allegations against Rihanna? Okay, February 8th, 2009. February 8th, 2009.
This one here for the thug.
This is how long Chris Brown has been hearing that he is a monster. This is how long he's been criticized for allegedly whooping up on Rihanna. And just when you thought Chris Brown eluded all these allegations, you thought he escaped it. No. In the light of not R. Kelly, but in the light of P. Diddy being arrested, guess what? They came after Chris Brown ass too. They said, oh no, this is a perfect time to go ahead and crucify Chris Brown too. But here's the thing though. Here is the what you have to look out for. After these documentaries come out, will this put more of a light on Chris Brown? Will Chris Brown go down?
No cap.
Will Chris Brown go down after this? Now, just in case y'all haven't seen a trailer to the Chris Brown documentary, let me show it to y'all right now. This is it. This is it right here.
I'm sure the girls want to know a couple more questions and things.
For the young ladies, I mean, what's up, man? You got a girl or what?
Nah, I'm keeping my options open, so y'all be checking for me, you know what I'm saying?
Oh.
Thank you so much.
That's the type of stuff will get you in trouble, player. Chris Brown is the name. Get used to that right there.
Chris Brown's an amazing and talented musician, but let's call a thing a thing. He's an abuser of women.
Do you see where the documentary is going? Huh? There are millions of relationships out here like this, just plain relationships, regular relationships. People are going through these type of issues every day. But here, this is the This is the backlash of being a famed artist, entertainer to the caliber of Chris Brown. You're going to get heavily criticized to this degree. And it's going to be painted all over social media, all over the entertainment world. This is the backlash right here. This is the catch-22. This is what you got to deal with. You got to be on the up and up. This is what I was telling people about Diddy, right? Like, with much, what is it called? With much reward comes much responsibility. I think that's how the saying goes. With much reward comes much responsibility. Okay. Right here in the beginning of this damn documentary, they saying that Chris Brown is a monster. Yeah, this is how it started out.
Consistently, unapologetically.
Did Chris pull a gun on that girl? When is your hearing for your restraining order?
There's a long list of various different women.
Seem pretty upset. Are you sure you don't really call victims advocates, have them come talk to you?
Who've accused Chris Brown of assaulting them.
Senator Chris Brown has been detained in an alleged case of rape.
He has an audience full of assault deniers.
No, I have not spoken about this matter publicly, but that's the only way that he can be stopped.
Chris Brown, A History of Violence. That's the name of the damn documentary right there. Chris Brown, A History of Violence. Now, I don't think it's out yet. I think that was a trailer. They're getting ready for it. They've been advertising it. They've been marketing this. And we all know this is a popular time to put out these type of documentaries, especially since one of Black community's largest figures got arrested, P. Diddy. P. Diddy sparked all of this interest to go ahead and surface all of these documentaries. Chris Brown. Now, I thought that Chris Brown escaped a lot of these allegations. I thought that he kind of rehabilitated himself or reinstituted himself back into the limelight, and he paid the cost back in 2009, right, when he allegedly put his hands on Rihanna. Now we've heard different theories about why that happened in the car. We heard that Rihanna gave him herpes and all kind of stuff, right? We heard that she did that. But at the same time, you know, he faced a lot of, they tried to boycott Chris Brown. He faced a lot of potential cancellations. They canceled a lot of award show appearances with Chris Brown. Chris Brown got a lot of backlash behind that Rihanna situation. Now, all of the women that I seen in this new documentary, Karrueche Tran and these white girls and all that kind of stuff, I did not know there was abuse allegations. Did y'all know that it was abuse allegations with Karrueche Tran? Maybe I'm late. Maybe it's because I don't really be, involved in that type of, information or whatever. But I did not know, especially all those other girls. Then they showed a girl in the interrogation room or questioning. The police was questioning her. I did not know all of that was going on with Chris Brown. But nevertheless, I thought that he escaped a lot of these accusations and allegations. I thought that he was clean. Well, not physically, because we know Chris Brown snort a lot of powder and he do a lot of drugs, right? I don't know. The man do a lot of drugs. One of my best friends is 7th Streeter Dad. 7th Streeter Dad. If anybody knows 7th Streeter, 7th Streeter was signed up under Chris Brown as a writer. And she had a song called "And You Don't Stop, Stop, Stop." Oh, do anybody remember that song? Yeah, she's actually from my hometown, and her record deal, she got that record deal because of me and my brother. We actually set her up with opening up for B2K, but that's a whole nother story, right? So this is why I know Chris Brown's story, and I know exactly how much drugs he do. I know how much dope he do. He's a dope head, right? But aside from that, I just thought that he escaped a lot of the backlash that he received as far as when they say he put his hand on Rihanna. I thought he escaped it. But they coming out with documentaries by the boatloads now. And if I'm not mistaken, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think that Chris Brown, R. Kelly, P. Diddy is going to be the only documentaries that people are going to take the advantage of capitalizing on. I don't think they're going to be the only ones. I think more and more documentaries are going to surface, and we're just going to see black men keep getting portrayed, and we're going to keep seeing black men's image being portrayed as monsters, just like the lady said in the Chris Brown documentary. We're just gonna keep hearing things and seeing these documentaries of black men, especially very famous black men. We're gonna keep seeing this, right? I think they're trying to make way for new entertainers. They need younger black folk to actually fill these voids. I think that the record industry, they're tired of Chris Brown. They're trying to get rid of Chris Brown. He's reached a certain age where they can start over. They don't give a damn about R. Kelly no more. And they damn sure finna get rid of P. Diddy, right? I think this is a reset, and they're trying to bring in a new crop of young black men, right, to fill these voids so they can make money off of, so they can squeeze another 30 years up out of these boys, right? Another 25, 30 years. And if y'all don't think this is a pattern with the powers that be in the music industry, if y'all don't think this is a real deal, yeah, they moving these people around like chess pieces. You can best believe that, right? So that was the documentary of Chris Brown. And then, not to mention, I'm pretty sure y'all seen the video as far as the lawyer out of Texas brought out more allegations that P. Diddy sexually assaulted 120 more women. 120 more women came forward and said that P. Diddy assaulted them, right? Now, shout out to 2 Glock. He texted me earlier and told me how that whole process went. He said that, he informed me that the lawyer put out a hotline, and anybody that felt like they was physically abused or sexually assaulted by P. Diddy, call that hotline. Did y'all know that's how these 120 victims surfaced? Yeah, the Texas lawyer put out let me show y'all this video. The Texas lawyer, this is how these 120 girls came about. Let me show y'all this right here. Here we go.
And victims are coming forward. Our team has had at this point more than 3,285 individuals contact us with people claiming to have been victimized.
New assault allegations against Diddy, your boy Diddy. New assault allegations against your boy Diddy. 120 more women. Now, mind you, before they actually picked these 120 more women that said they were sexually assaulted by P. Diddy, guess how many women actually called a hotline?
No Cap-tivity.
Guess how many women actually called the damn hotline? Just guess. It was 120 women that they accepted, that they felt like might have been credible, that they're going to move forward into trying to prosecute P. Diddy even further. But guess how many women actually called a hotline, y'all, before they picked out of the 120 women? My homeboy 2 Glock say it was over 2,500 women.
No Cap-tivity.
Yes, Travel One. It was 3,000 is close enough. 3,000 close enough. Over 2,500 women. Maybe it was 3,000. I don't know. 3,000, 2,500. That's close enough. That's how many women call this hotline, y'all. And I think that might be the hotline right behind them. 1-800-200-7474. So if you guys feel like you were sexually assaulted by P. Diddy, go ahead and try your luck and call the hotline.
By Sean Combs.
Shout out to my sister, Jet Cora in the building. Jet, what's up, Jet? Could one of the mods do me a favor? Could one of the mods, shout out to my auntie Low Key in the building. What's going on, my auntie Low Key?
Cap-tivity.
Could one of the mods do Freezy a favor? Shout out to Mayor 963 in the building. What's going on, Mayor?
Cap-tivity.
Could one of the mods do Freezy a favor and write fair use about 3 times in the chat? Somebody write fair use 3 times in the chat so I can put it up here doing while this video is going forward. I'll wait till somebody write fair use. I appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate y'all. Thank y'all, man. And if you would like your comments read and highlighted, you can either leave a super chat or you can leave a cash cap. All right, you can either leave a cash cap to $ no cap freezy. That's $ no cap freezy. Thank you, Travel One. Thank you, Travel One. I appreciate you.
No Cap-tivity.
Let's keep going to see what this lawyer got to say.
After vetting, we now represent 120 individuals who intend to bring civil claims in civil court against Sean Diddy Combs, as well as claims against many other individuals and entities that we will name as defendants as we file these individual cases. And you should know, to the extent the clients feel comfortable, we also intend to make these individuals available to the authorities, specifically to the FBI. And you should also know a few of them have already been spoken to by the FBI. Now, before we discuss the nature of the claims and claimants themselves, let me comment on the large volume of calls we have received since our first announcement. Even before the indictment of Sean Combs, we had received a small volume of calls and had screened a handful of cases. After the indictment of Sean Combs and the announcement that we were pursuing these claims, the floodgates opened. People who wouldn't otherwise, for a variety of reasons, are now stepping forward to make their voices heard and to pursue justice. But no, most of these people are scared. They fear backlash in their communities. They fear backlash in their own families. They are afraid of retaliation from the perpetrators and their associates. They are rightly afraid for their own personal safety. I expect that through this process, many powerful people will be exposed.
This is why you got to be careful when you represent a high-profile position, when you move up the ladder, especially as a black man. Like, it astounds me that none of these black men was taught, once you get to a certain position in life and society, as a black person, you gotta be extra careful. You gotta be far more careful than other races out there. And I know a lot of black people feel like, no, that's unfair to say, Freezy. We live in America. We live in America, Freezy. When Harvey Weinstein went down, they gave him his time and they said, we're done with it. Seemed like with P. Diddy, they are trying to milk P. Diddy like a damn cow. They taking advantage of this man. To an unbelievable extent. But I'm gonna be honest with y'all, maybe it's karma. Because a lot of artists have said and accused P. Diddy of taking advantage of them throughout the years. Maybe this is karma. A lot of times I just like to get out the way and let God do his work. God don't make no mistakes. 3,000 women, 2,500 women calling this hotline saying that P. Diddy sexually assaulted them too. I'm gonna just be honest with y'all. I highly doubt that P. Diddy sexually assaulted 3,000 women. And I highly doubt that all of these 120 women that this guy right here is representing is telling the truth. Shout out to my homeboy Smitty in the building. What's going on, Smitty?
No Cap-tivity.
Smitty say Freezy, you know this the same lawyer that was suing Deshaun Watson. No, I did not know that, Smitty. Thank you for the info, bro.
This one here for the thug.
Thank you for the info, bro. Shout out to my dog Smitty in the building. Well, you know, obviously he's an opportunist and he's trying to capitalize. We finna make money off this ninja. Y'all see I'm keeping it clean? Oh, yeah. We cleaning it up going into 2025. So he's obviously making money. He's going to make money off this ninja. And, you know, I just want to note that there's a black woman standing right next to him, too, in solidarity.
Many dirty secrets will be revealed. We know what we are potentially up against. And as is always the case in situations like this, when a celebrity is involved, people can be downright mean and nasty. You would be shocked at the length fans will go, no matter the evidence to the contrary, to defend celebrities they love. I mean, there's a reason for this word fans. They're fanatics. I've personally already been threatened multiple times on social media. When I agreed to pursue this, I expected as much. This isn't my first rodeo.
Give me a
break.
break.
Victims who step forward to have their voices.
So he's been threatened too. So P. Diddy getting blamed for the Diddy Meisters, the Diddy minions threatening him too. I'm telling you, P. Diddy is getting blamed all over the place. They're gonna pile the blame up as high as it can go and to the highest bidder. They're gonna try to make money off of P. Diddy. If I'm telling you, it might be a way some of y'all can make some money off of P. Diddy if you're into that type of stuff. But the lawyer's gonna, listen, Gloria Allred, right? This guy. And I'm pretty sure there's gonna be some more lawyers as well.
Heard, should not be subjected to that kind of conduct. They should not be targeted.
Cap-tivity.
So there you have it, folks. 120 more victims just came forward and got this lawyer as a representative saying that P. Diddy, saying that P. Diddy also sexually assaulted them as well. I'm going to show you guys another video involving two young black men. I won't call them black boys. Young black men. Because I'm going to cover different dynamics about black men during this live stream, right? We're going to cover the celebrity portion as far as like when black men actually make it big and they experience a life that most of us would never experience. They reach heights of popularity that 99.9% of black men will not experience. Right? And when you look at it, you're like, damn, you know, should we feel sorry for them guys? Most black people not going to feel. This is a tricky situation. I'm telling you, just rock with me one second. It's a tricky situation because most black people are not going to feel sorry for these guys because they made more money than your average black person. And we know how most black people operate. Most black people will hate on each other. They're going to say, hey, you know, they had all the money. Most black people are going to say, I ain't going to say most black people going to hate on each other, which I do have my opinions on that right there. But most black people, I retract that. Most black people are going to say, well, they had money. They was rich. You think we should feel sorry for these guys and they was rich? And they was the most popular guy at school and they had everybody calling their name. Freezer, you think we should feel sorry for these guys? I'm not telling y'all to feel sorry for these guys, but tonight I want to visit the dynamic of how these guys got to this point and what would make them become a type of person that would allegedly physically assault women or allegedly potentially sexually assault women and young girls. Right? Shout out to Living Humbly in the building. Shalom, bro. Shalom. Always good to see you, bro. And shout out to our sister Bree Nicole.
No captivity.
Shalom to both my brother and sister. Thank you, Jet. I really appreciate that, Jet. Thank you for reminding everybody to keep the light, help keep the lights on. $ no cap freezy. $ no cap freezy. Thank you. Let me show y'all this video. This video just surfaced. When y'all see this video, I want y'all to add this on to the list of things that we're going to talk about tonight as far as black men, right? And the title of tonight's show. Here we go.
Tonight, one family's message: justice is served. A jury convicting a man of murder all over romance. And a warning: some of the details of the story may be disturbing to hear.
Cheyenne Corinne is live for us at Philadelphia Police Headquarters. Cheyenne, we heard from the family of the 20-year-old victim tonight. What are they saying?
We did, Sheba, and it was very emotional. But they do have some closure now that the man who shot and then burned the body of Nasir Johnson will spend the rest of his life in prison. The family also wanted to make clear that Nasir was murdered not only because he was gay, but also because his killer, who he was in a relationship with, could not accept his own sexual identity.
Sometimes I just force myself to go to sleep. My heart is so torn in so many pieces.
Since Nasir Johnson was killed in February of 2022, his family has been pleading and praying for justice.
I couldn't even see him. They would have laid him to rest. I couldn't even see him.
The 20-year-old's body was found along this remote trail in Fairmount Park near Kelly Drive.
This body was the worst burned body I have ever seen.
Prosecutors say 23-year-old Kylan Pratt shot Johnson in the neck at his West Philly home, wrapped his body in cloth, drove it to the park, and set him on fire. Pratt was...
Okay, here's the thing. So y'all heard what this 25-year-old man did to this 20-year-old boy. He burned him up, shot him, burned him up, went and tried to hide his body. What would make a boy so afraid of people finding out that he's potentially gay or bisexual do something like that? He enjoyed this boy's presence. He enjoyed what he felt like was pleasure that came from it. He enjoyed what he felt like was pleasure that came from his association with the boy. But because he felt like somebody was going to find out that, you know, he rocked that way, he needed to go ahead and eliminate this boy's life.
Found guilty of first-degree murder with a mandatory life sentence. Investigators also found disturbing searches on his cell phone, and he was found guilty of other charges, such as abuse of a corpse.
Makes no mistake about it, this was a hate crime.
Pratt was identified as a suspect after detectives received an anonymous tip that also led them to finding out the two men were in a romantic relationship.
We must recognize that this violence isn't random. It is a reflection of deeply rooted, internalized homophobia, queerphobia, and transphobia that impacts all of our communities.
This is an individual who was killed because he was gay. And because the man who killed him did not want anyone to find out that he was in a relationship with him or that he had sex with other men.
Johnson's family described the Chad High School graduate who was about to begin college as a person who everyone loved. They say his death is a result of families not accepting their children for who they are and urges others to unconditionally love how they did Nasir.
He didn't deserve that. For you to burn his body so we couldn't see him is no amount of forgiveness.
And now the convicted killer will also have to work in prison to pay Nasir's family nearly $18,000 in restitution. I'm live at police headquarters. I'm Cheyenne Karen, Fox 29 News. Back to you.
Oh, you just feel
$18,000.
so terrible for that family, Cheyenne.
That is no money. $18,000 shooting and burning this boy. Did he strangle him too? I forgot. There's not no money. There's no money at all. $18,000. You can keep that. That family deserve millions, right? But I guess after he settled in prison, there's only so much he can pay back, making 25 cents an hour. I'm just saying. $18,000 is like $1 million to a prisoner, so you know. But now that we're seeing all these videos, let's talk about it. Let's talk about black men and what black men go through. I wanted to include black men on the DL. Believe it or not, there's a lot of black men that you guys know and that you don't know is on the DL. There's black men on the DL. There's black men that because of lack of direction, lack of identity, right? Lack of being accepted by their biological father. And listen, and we can include celebrities and billionaires to this list, like P. Diddy, right? Possibly Chris Brown, right? Like R. Kelly. Do y'all see how I'm tying all this in? But not just celebrities. Once upon a time, before they became celebrities, they was regular men too, right? They wasn't always celebrities. They was regular men, and they just made it big. But it's just us that prop these guys up as if they're gods, you know, that lord over people. You know, we do it to them. We do that. We think because people achieve a certain amount of popularity, we feel like these people are gods. But these people are regular people that could have been sexually molested as well. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do y'all see where I'm going with it? But I wanted to talk about this and get to the heart of why people end up doing things and going down a certain path. And a lot of these people receive a life-changing result, being that it may be death or life in prison or a label that they can never shake, like being a pedophile or a sex offender. There is a beginning to all of this, and I wanted to talk about the beginning to all of this.
No Cap-tivity.
If we rewind back to our childhoods, if you guys can take a look back and be honest about your childhood and what kind of household that you guys grew up under, right? Now, when I grew up, I would not say that my childhood was the most healthy childhood that a child, especially a young boy, could grow up under. When I grew up, my father, I did not really get a lot of guidance from my father. My father was always, he was always trying to be seen, lead a house. He was always trying to be in the public's eye in our neighborhood. He was always gone from the house, trying to be involved in, you know, whatever was happening whatever was the happening thing in our neighborhood or in the surrounding areas, whether it's clubs, bars, you know. So when you grow up with a father like that, it does have an effect on the children. It has an effect on the boys. My father used to watch. Now I'm just giving y'all a little bit of my life because I want you guys to connect the dots with what I'm trying to say about young black boys and how they end up as men, the type of men that gets painted as monsters in documentaries and stuff like that, right? I want to try to connect the dots. Shout out to Stan Joseph in the building. What's going on,
No
Stan
Cap-tivity.
Joseph? So me growing up, my father was very irresponsible with us as boys. And I'm not saying that because I hate my father. No, I love my father. I love my father because he was my father, because it wouldn't be no freezer without my father's seed, right? Or without my father's sperm. So I'm grateful for my father, if not only just for that simple fact right there. I really am grateful for, you know, me being here and my father being a big part of that. So I just wanted to put that out there first. But I also want to say this. Me growing up, my father was an avid porn watcher. He used to watch pornography on VHS tapes and stuff like that. VHS, VCR, shout out to the V tapes. Y'all understand what I'm saying? And not only that, see, I'm a Gen Xer, so I'm kind of old school, and my father was a baby boomer. So if you guys can follow me, you can. If you can't, okay, that's fine too. But you just probably, you kind of had to be living around that time to really understand what I'm trying to break out to you guys right about now. But my dad watched a lot of porn, and when my mother was at work, so needless to say, my mother was at work and he was oftentimes at home, you know, not at work, sitting on the couch, you know what I'm saying? And not saying that he watched porn all damn day long, but there was a segment where me and my brothers knew, okay, he gonna pop in one of them tapes. You know what I'm saying? And my dad also had some nudie magazines, Playboy magazines, Hustler, and he also had the comic magazines. I don't know if you guys remember the cartoon magazines where it was a porn cartoon. Do y'all remember those old school magazines where it showed cartoons having sex with one another, right? Cartoon figures actually having sex with one another. You seen the cartoon genitals and stuff. You seen the both female and male cartoon genitals, and they was having sex. My dad had the books. Now that I really think about it, damn, I witnessed all of that shit. I'm really thinking about my life, right? And I want y'all to really follow me with this right here. Shout out to Bolo TV in the building.
No Cap-tivity.
I want y'all to follow what I'm saying because I'm going somewhere with this, and where I'm going with this, it might make sense on why I titled the live stream, "Are Black Men Under Attack? Are Black Men the most demonized men in media? And whose fault is it? And whose fault is it?" Did I say shout out to Bolo? I just said shout out to Bolo. Shout out to Bolo.
No Cap-tivity.
And shout out to Stan Joseph. Did I say shout out to Stan? Shout out to Stan.
No
man.
Cap-tivity.
My bad, y'all. My memory going. But yeah, so my dad used to be home a lot and he used to watch porn. You know, damn near every day. And me and my brother used to sit there and have to watch it with him. If we couldn't go outside, and me and my brother was bad. We was very mischievous kids, possibly because we didn't have a lot of attention, but we was very mischievous kids. We grew up in the hood. A lot of times we did used to get to go outside, right? We did used to get to go outside, But when we didn't go outside, if it was raining or something, we had to stay inside. We had to be subject to whatever our dad was watching on TV. And quite often our dad used to watch porn. So we used to watch porn. My dad, I'm gonna tell you, and I don't know if it was baby boomers and stuff. I don't know if it was a baby boomer thing, but my dad, do y'all have parents, or do y'all know parents, or do y'all know people like this? What I'm about to say, my dad used to watch porn, and even when my mom came home from work, he didn't rush to cut the porn off. He used to keep it going. He used to watch porn with me and my brothers in the living room, and he used to keep it going. And the way he used to explain it away to my mom is, they need to learn the birds and the bees sometime or another, right? This is the best way for them to learn. Instead of him actually talking to us, which he did kind of talk to us when we got older, but from a young age, we got introduced to sex through pornography. So we just used to sit up there and watch it. At first, I didn't even know what I was looking at. I thought it was just two naked people. At that point, I hadn't really even seen my daddy naked or my mom naked. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, but I've seen more porn people naked than my mom and dad, you know what I'm saying, as a kid, you know. But we used to sit up there and watch porn. And it got to the point where it was just a regular thing. We got used to watching porn because my daddy watched porn all the time. And then it migrated to the point where I started understanding what was going on, because as I got a little older, I started looking at girls. I started being attracted to girls. I wanted a girl to be my girlfriend. And I went through that little stage, you know. And so once I became cognizant of me being a boy and what I possessed on my body, and I started getting aroused from the porn, I used to sit there and watch the porn later on, and I would get aroused and I would watch porn. And then on my spare time, when my daddy wasn't watching it, when my daddy wasn't around, I would go sneak his damn porn magazines or his porn VHS tapes or VCR tapes or his little cartoon booklets. I would go and watch it myself. And I would get to the point where I would actually masturbate as a child. I'm a child. I was like, 8 years old, 7 years old, 9 years old, 10 years. Do you understand what I'm saying? I was 8, I was 7, 6, I was 6, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Shout out to Lucky Marie in the building.
No Cap-tivity.
Day one. Shout out to Lucky Marie, man. I appreciate you, man. Shout out to Lucky. Make sure y'all subscribe to my sister's channel. I'm always going to show love to Lucky. And I was on Lucky's channel the other day. She had a great panel. Yeah, we had a great discussion. Shout out to Lucky Marie, my day one. I'm talking about day one.
No Cap-tivity.
That's right. And y'all can't change that. Shout out to Trey Fur, just came off in the building. What's going on, Trey?
No Cap-tivity.
In the building. So, if you guys, listen, if you want to, if you would like your comments read and highlighted, you can either send a super cap, aka super chat, or you can send a cash cap, aka cash app to $ no cap freezy. That's $ no cap freezy. So here's the thing, right? Are black men under attack? Are black men the most demonized in the media? And whose fault is it? Whose fault is it? Can we take it all the way back to our childhood? Now, here it is. I grew up being very sexual minded in nature. Looking at women, looking at young girls. I grew up like that. I grew up very heavily sexually minded. I knew about freaky things sexually freaky things from a young age. I used to envision having sex with girls in the classroom. You understand what I'm saying? That's how much that was in my mind. That's how much I was subjected to sexuality and porn. Right? That's how much I was subjected to it. We used to watch Cinemax After Dark and all that kind of stuff. I used to take chances even though I was going to get an ass whooping. I used to watch Cinemax. Anybody remember Cinemax After Dark? Anybody remember Cinemax After Dark? The movie channel. All of those soft porn movies that used to come on late night. I used to try to watch those, because we had free cable, because we used to have the little index cards, and we used to fold them in half and put it in the little cable box and try to get free cable, and that's how you got free cable. Ain't nobody pay for cable in the hood. If you was in the hood and you paid for cable, you was weird. Right? But that was just, I went off on a tangent, right? I'm sorry, y'all. I went off on a tangent. But the thing, yeah, HBO After Dark too. Shout out to Stan. Stan know what I'm talking about. But I was heavily into pornographic images in my mind. And I always liked to get aroused. Now, nothing ever happened to me. I never was sexually molested or nothing like that. No, I didn't grow up like that. My dad never did anything to us. My mom never did anything. A family member never did anything to us. I'm just telling y'all that my dad was the type of dad. He used to sit up in the living room, drank his liquor or drank his beer, and he used to have his boys right there next to him watching the same thing he watched. And I used to watch it. Imagine if I did experience sexual molestation at a young age at a boy. Imagine if that was tacked on to my experience as a kid as well. I'm trying to take you guys down a path to where you can understand what a lot of young black boys experience, especially in today's society. Listen, back then it was only VHS tapes and VCR tapes. Are y'all following me? Back then it was only magazines, VHS, VCR tapes. Now it's smartphones. What I experienced as a kid, and I thought that, I was like I was one of the minority kids that actually experienced that, right? Now, majority of kids are experiencing this type of cinema. And you don't even have to, quite the contrary. I mean, quite frankly, you don't even have to go to a porn site to see pornographic images. Just watch a Sukihana video. Just watch a Sexy Red video. Just watch Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B. I showed a video clip where Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B was scissoring each other. Do y'all remember that video that I showed y'all? Shout out to Jerome in the house. What going on, Jerome?
No Cap-tivity.
Shout out to Antoine. What's going on, Antoine? Where you been at, bro? Do y'all remember that? So you don't even have to you don't even have to go to a pornographic website on your cell phone or on your smartphone. No, you could just what was I going to say? You don't have to go to a pornographic website, right? You could just watch a music video. You could just watch some rap music and see it. It's everywhere now. What I'm telling y'all that I experienced as a kid, damn near 80% of kids is experiencing, even the good ones y'all talking about, right? These kids is watching porn. They watching porn and they freaks. All these young kids is freaks. If y'all don't think that there's gonna be another P. Diddy that come about later on in the future, if y'all don't think it's gonna be another potential R. Kelly that's gonna hit the scene in the entertainment world, you out your damn mind. I'm sorry. It's just gonna happen. It's inevitable. It's just where the world's set up. It's just the way it's gonna be, right? There was a kid that is being sexually assaulted as we speak, and could possibly, and that can sing and has talent and could possibly be our next R. Kelly, Chris Brown, all of that stuff. I'm telling y'all, this is reality. So when we have this dynamic, when we know young black boys that's not even sexually, that have that whether they're sexually molested or they wasn't, but is experiencing the same experiences that your boy Freezy experienced, that I'm trying to tell y'all about, right? That I'm being totally honest about, because y'all know, I'm gonna keep it real.
No captivity.
When a boy grows up like this, and they're very hypersexual in nature, and they grow up to be very frustrated in life and don't have a lot of discipline, right? Shout out to Patricia Mitchell in the building.
No captivity.
That's a great question, Patricia. That's a great question. Well, that's what we're talking about right now, right? Hypersexuality in men, and just the dysfunction that we always talk about when it comes to black men. We just seen that video about the 25-year-old killing the young 20-year-old Nazir. Nazir obviously was an openly gay young man, and the 25-year-old was in the closet. Now, the way he murdered Nazir, the 20-year-old, was horrendous. But I will subscribe to you that down low men are created each and every day in the black community, within the blackosphere. They are created every day. How are they created? Most of the time they're created because they're very hypersexual. They watch a lot of porn. And a lot of times when these kids surf these, see, I don't even watch porn no more. I stopped watching porn a long time ago. Maybe because I got it out my system. And here's another thing. Watching porn back then when you was a kid is way better than that. I know this is going to sound crazy. This is going to sound weird, right? I'm sorry, y'all, but I got to say it. When you was a young kid back in the 80s, watching, or the 90s, the 80s or the 90s, watching porn back then was a safer experience. Why you say it was a safer experience, Freezy? It was a safer experience because you know what you're watching. You're watching a videotape that specifically has heterosexual sex in it. You're watching a videotape that specifically has heterosexual sex in it. And if you're watching soft porn on Cinemax After Dark or HBO After Dark, you're specifically watching a heterosexual soft porn movie. And when I think about that soft porn, no white folks, that shit was corny as hell. Do y'all remember those soft porn movies? Those movies was corny. Now that I think about it, they were just rubbing up against each other. They weren't even doing that. They probably had their genitals taped to their damn bodies. Some of them was real now, when the director had it going on. But you know what you was watching. That's the point I'm trying to make. But now with these kids, shout out to Patricia. She asked the question earlier about why are black men so hypersexual? Now with these kids with these cell phones, right? Now with these cell phones, you could just go on your phone and watch porn in the middle of class in elementary school. You could just watch porn and when one video is over with, another video will show. Then another video will show. And if you keep scrolling or allowing the videos to play, what these porn sites do, they will throw pornographic videos at you that you're not even into, that you didn't even think about watching. You're a young man that's into girls, but the pornographic site will throw a homosexual video at you. And imagine if you are, I need y'all to follow me. Imagine if you are a young boy or a young girl, especially a young black boy or a young black girl, that don't really have a lot of potential, parental guidance. And then you don't got a lot of wisdom by default because you a kid. Imagine if you're watching this stuff, you've heard about LGBT and all, you've heard about two men and all doing the nasty. You heard about that, but you never actually seen it. Then you're a young kid, you're a young boy, you're watching man on woman, man on woman, man on woman, man on woman. Then they throw two men at you, or they throw two women at you. You a kid. Most kids are very adventurous and they'll watch stuff or do things out of curiosity, right? They'll do that. That's why I said it was safer when I was a kid, because I really stopped watching porn when they had VHS tapes, VCR. I kind of got burnt out. No did it.
This one here for the thug.
I burnt myself out, Yeah, I burnt myself out, huh? But now with the damn smartphones, you don't know what these porn sites is gonna throw at you. So a lot of these kids, they don't stop the video. They don't stop it just because they see a woman on woman. When they just watch them near 2 or 3 heterosexual pornographic videos, no, now they throw a homosexual pornographic video at you. And I'm gonna tell you now, y'all might not believe it, and I know y'all don't think y'all kids do these type of things. But this is real life what I'm talking about. We're having a real life discussion. That's why it's called No Cap-tivity.
No Cap-tivity.
Shout out to El Cheapo in the building. And I got to read this comment because she said, hit the like button. Don't forget to support the channel with the Super Cap and Cash Cap. $ No Cap freezing.
No Cap-tivity.
And y'all, listen, I'm going to tell y'all something. Y'all know I got to do this. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Damn, I can't find it. Where is it? Hold on, let me find it. Here we go. The devil is a liar.
No Cap-tivity. No Cap-tivity. No Cap-tivity.
Shout out. Shout out to my little goddaughter. That's El Cheapo's daughter, y'all. And guess what? I'm so grateful that she did that little snippet for me. And from now on, it's going to be forever in the No Cap Crew archive. Shout out to El Cheapo's beautiful daughter.
No Cap-tivity.
I'm sorry, El Cheapo. You know I had to do it. You know I had to do it. Hold on, I don't want to say El Cheapo's. That's your daughter. What's her name again, El Cheapo? Tell me her name again. Write it in the chat. Write it in the chat so I can go ahead and put it on my clipboard so I can call her name out. Or you don't have to call. I can just say El Cheapo daughter just in case you don't want your daughter's name out there. You know. I could just say El Cheapo's daughter. Or I could say Lil Cheapo. How about that? Lil Cheapo. Yeah.
No Cap-tivity.
Lil Cheapo. Baby Cheapo. No, Baby Cheapo. Yeah. Baby Cheapo. Taylor, aka Taylor.
No Cap-tivity.
That's right.
No.
That's right. Huh? And y'all know Freezy love the kids. going back to what I was talking about, was it's more dangerous for the kids. Now with the adults, if you scrolling and you watching porn and you watching heterosexual porn, and then they throw some homosexual stuff at you, and you still, cause nobody watching, nobody looking, you still sit there on your phone or on your laptop and you still watch it to see what's going on, because you really ain't really used to seeing it, and you just watching it out of curiosity to see what the hell is going on. What do these people really do in bed? That's on you. Cause you know, you grown, and we know, you grown. You just a damn freak. That's what you is. You're a freak. But the kids, it's a whole different ball game. It's a whole different situation, because the kids are watching out of genuine curiosity, right? So they grow up like this, being subjected to this type of material. Porn on cell phones, smartphones, and laptops and tablets. They grow up being subject to this type of stuff that's very accessible, way more accessible than when I was a child. Are you guys following me? So there are going to be more P. Diddy's. There are going to be more Chris Browns. There are going to be more R. Kelly's. Let's talk about P. Diddy. P. Diddy grew up, his dad was in the street. They say his dad was a gangster, so he witnessed some things. Right? He witnessed some things, and his mother was in that life as well. So I'm pretty sure he witnessed some things that a child is not supposed to witness, possibly even sexually, right? And if you guys know Chris Brown's story, Chris Brown's mother gave him up to a lady back then who used to be a record exec for Sony Records. She used to work under Clive Davis. Her name was Sylvia Rome. Sylvia Rome is responsible for a lot of artist development. Sylvia Rome. Has anybody ever heard of Sylvia Rome? Chris Brown's mother gave him up to Sylvia Rome, and Sylvia Rome ended up adopting him. Now remember, I told you guys that 7th Streeter, right? She used to be a part of the group TG4 the group that was under Chris Stokes, that was signed to the same record label that B2K. They was the sister group. And then she became a solo artist, 7th Streeter. She's from my hometown. We was directly responsible for her getting her record deal. And I'm very, very, very close friends with her father. So anything there is to know about Chris Brown, I've heard of it. I know his story. I know Chris Brown's story personally. Chris Brown was given to, as a young boy, to Sylvia Rome, to a record exec, to stay with her. His mother gave him up completely. Chris Brown was a very young boy. She groomed Chris Brown from a kid. Chris Brown had to be probably 8, 9, or 10 years old or something like that. Sylvia Rome worked in the industry. She was a record exec. She knew the ropes. She understood how it go. All that shit that P. Diddy went through as far as the, doing what he had to do to get Bad Boy Records and to seal deals and stuff in the industry. Sylvia Rome had been doing that. Sylvia Rome was very familiar with that type of lifestyle in the music industry, the record industry, for a long time, even before she acquired Chris Brown as a young boy, even before she adopted Chris Brown as a young boy. So word is that Sylvia Rome allegedly used to have sex with Chris Brown. A lot of you guys didn't know that.
No Cap-tivity.
Sylvia Rome used to have sex with Chris Brown as a young boy, 10, 11, 12 years old. 13 years old. Sylvia Rome, the first sexual experience was as a young boy by the older record exec, the lady Sylvia Rome. Let me get a picture of Sylvia Rome. Let's see, Sylvia Rome, Electra Records, Rone, not Rome, Rone. Let's see, spell her name right. Here we go. It's Sylvia Rome. So this is her at an older age. This is Sylvia Rome at an older age right here, right? She's standing in front of a billboard for women. Longtime record exec, Electra Records, you name it. Let's see if we can find a young picture of Sylvia Rome. Let's see, young Sylvia Rome. This is a young Sylvia Rome right here. So this is around the time she had Chris Brown. This is a young Sylvia Rome. This is around the time she had Chris Brown, y'all. So allegedly, this is when she was having sex with Chris Brown. And Chris Brown was a young boy. Chris Brown was a young boy. Let me remind, I want to put a picture to the face. Young Chris Brown, young boy. Let's see if I can find it on Google Images. Young boy Chris Brown. Let's see. When Chris Brown was given to Sylvia Rome. Okay, here's a picture right here. This Chris Brown, closer to the age he is now, and this is Chris Brown when he was a young kid, when his mother gave him away to Sylvia Rome. So when we know this and we hear stories like this, right? Should we have more understanding and compassion for Chris Brown?
No Cap-tivity.
This is the hard question that I'm asking the audience. Should we have more compassion and understanding for Chris Brown if this really did happen to him, allegedly? Knowing that this happened to him allegedly, knowing that he was taken advantage of and he was having sex and he was groomed by this woman right here. Right? Knowing he was groomed by this woman right here, should we have more compassion and understanding for Chris Brown? What do you guys say? Does that add more context? And also R. Kelly, right? R. Kelly, we seen the Surviving R. Kelly documentary. R. Kelly's sister, R. Kelly's brother admittedly said what used to happen to him and what used to happen to R. Kelly at a young age, right? R. Kelly's sister used to sexually molest him at a young age, him and his brother. And then not only that, R. Kelly got sexually molested by one of their neighbors, an older man. So R. Kelly went through this. R. Kelly went through this. So often, a lot of young kids go through these things and they end up becoming what the media paints as monsters. Ain't no telling what the 25-year-old boy that murdered the young LGBT kid, the 20-year-old Nazir, there's no telling what this boy actually experienced as a young kid. And I don't know his story as a young kid, but there's no telling what he actually experienced, right? So now that we assessed all of that, what do you guys think? When we talk about these young boys and them not really having a fair shake in life, growing up, should we visit these type of topics more often? Because I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. We're gonna just keep coming up on YouTube, on these shows and stuff, on these panels, going back and forth, going back and forth, going back and forth, going around in circles. And the people that's talking on these panels, we don't know what their background is. We don't know what they actually experienced. They could have experienced the same atrocities that Chris Brown, R. Kelly, and Diddy experienced. We just don't know. And most of the time, when it comes down to young boys, pertaining to young boys, they're too ashamed to even actually expose themselves, because it's more shameful for a young boy for anybody to know that a young boy experienced these type of things to them at a young age than it is, well, I ain't gonna say that. Well, for a young girl, right? Young girls, it's embarrassing on both sides, because I have compassion and understanding for what, you know, for both boy and girl, if something of the sort happens to them. But what I'm trying to say about young boys is that boys tend to have more of an ego. Boys tend to have more pride, and they tend to be more competitive to look better than other young boys, right? They tend to want to look good in front of other young boys. Women, even though it's an uncomfortable situation, they tend to be more coddled and more protected. Young women seem to be more protected than young boys. A lot of young boys are brought up to be tough and not to be vulnerable and not to be a crybaby, right? Even at an older age, they tell us older men not to cry. It's not cool for us to cry. So what path do young boys usually take after experiencing sexual assault, sexual molestation? What path do young boys usually take when they're told not to cry, when they're told not to exhibit vulnerability, any type of vulnerability or weakness? The path that they usually take is they keep it on the inside. They don't tell nobody. They harness their secrets. They keep their secrets possibly for the rest of their life, all the way to their grave. And then what happens is it manifests in their character. It manifests in their character. It manifests in how they might treat their significant other. It manifests in the potential sex practices that they might participate in later on in life that they don't want nobody to know about, right? And then what happens is if they're threatened to be outed, right? Instead of being outed and being embarrassed and looking weak and looking soft and looking like an outcast, what would they rather do? They would do what the 25-year-old did. The 25-year-old murdered his male sexual partner because he was on the DL and he didn't want anybody else to know.
No captivity.
Young black boys go through this all the time. All the time. So when we talk about P. Diddy, let's talk about P. Diddy, because P. Diddy is the most recent guy that is experiencing a drastic downfall because of his indictment and because of the alleged things that he actually did to young girls and young women. I mean, young women, young girls, and young men, right? When we look at that dynamic with P. Diddy, right? How should we actually approach the Diddy situation, the Diddy debacle? Should we use Diddy's situation as a diagram should we use it as something we could put on a chalkboard to say P. Diddy is I'm trying to find the right word, the right terminology. I don't want to say poster child. Y'all help me out in the chat. That's what I got y'all for. Example, right? Example. But I was looking for a better word than example. I always have a brain fart when I'm doing these live streams sometimes. But yeah, P. Diddy, can we use P. Diddy as an example of how a child can experience things at a young age but grow up to be these monsters that's painted in the media? Shout out to Stan Joseph, man. Super and I appreciate all of the super caps. Thank you for all the support. Thank you to Stan Joseph for the $2 super cap. He said, grown women told us that they were training us. Grown women told us that they were training us.
No Cap-tivity.
Yeah, just lay down. You gonna be all right. Yeah. Just lay down. When you look at, let me ask y'all this. When you look at the timeline, and when you look at Diddy's entire situation, does it make you have more sympathy for Diddy while he's locked up? If put a 1 if it does in the chat, put a 2 if it doesn't. And no matter how you feel, just be honest, right? Don't cap.
No
right?
Cap-tivity.
Just put it in the chat. I want to see where your mind's at, because there's a reason why I wanted to bring this up and talk about this, because it's a very sensitive situation. It is a very sensitive topic. Whose fault is it? Is it Diddy's fault should Diddy, here's another question. Should Diddy have known better as a grown man? Shout out to Sugar Bomb. She said, once again, terrible parenting, right? But should Diddy have known better as a grown man not to do the things he did, especially with the amount of wealth that he required? Should Diddy have known better? Should Diddy have an excuse if he was subjected to sexual molestation as a young boy? If he was, or if he actually was subjected to a lot of sexual activity at a young age, or if he witnessed a lot of sexual activity at a young age, should we be more understanding to Diddy and how and what resulted in Diddy's character later on in life, with him being locked away right now and potentially receiving life in prison? Should we be more sympathetic if he actually experienced this type of experience or had these type of experiences at a young age? Should we? Super chat. Shout out to Antoine for the $5 super cap. He said parents and relatives have to learn how to have open dialogues with their children. Even though it's uncomfortable, it's necessary. Shout out to Antoine. Shout out to Antoine. I appreciate you. Shout out to everybody that's been helping us keep the lights on. Let me see if we got a cash cap yet. Do we got a cash app yet? We ain't got no cash app. Everybody been sending in super caps. Yep. Here's the thing. Will a large figure like P. Diddy being locked away for the rest of his life and being made an example of, will that help? Will this message that the authorities are sending to the rest of the nation and the rest of these kids that see what P. Diddy is going through, will this message that the federal authorities is sending, will it have a positive effect going forward with younger kids? Will this help prevent future adults from being like P. Diddy? Or is it going to get worse? And if it's going to get worse, is that something to be alarmed about? Is the problem P. Diddy, or is the problem something way more serious and way more intricate? Is the problem people like P. Diddy, Chris Brown, R. Kelly, or is the problem far more deeper than we're having discussions about? Super chat. Shout out to Stan Joseph again for his $5 super cap. He said, path 1, shut down. Path 2, don't want to be touched. Path 3, keep everyone at distance. Path 4, get into sex work, pimping, or be pimped. Path 5, failed relationships.
No captivity.
Sounds about right to me, Stan. Shout out to Stan for helping us keep the lights on. I appreciate you, Stan. And shout out to Sugar Bum for being very involved in the chat. Thank you, Sugar Bum. I tell y'all, listen, Sugar Bum respect me. I think she respect this platform more than any other platform. I think I'm gonna just go ahead and put that on my back. Shout out to my sister, Sugar Bone, cause you know, me and Sugar Bone like this. That's my dog. That's my dog. But I'm addressing this issue because y'all would not understand. And I think the women see it more than the men do. I think the women see what I'm about to say more than the men do. There are way more zesty men in society today than ever. Now we can just, we can pick at them and call them zesty and stuff. We can do that all day, but why are they zesty? Why have they adopted these extreme feminine traits, even if they never had sex with the same sex? Why have they adopted these traits, these characteristics? There are a lot of down low men, sexually confused black men. Black women have been complaining for a long time. We don't have as many black male leaders as we used to back in the day. This is a very difficult conversation. Would y'all trust, what I'm noticing is a lot of black men with these feminine traits and the zestiness, they have moved more so towards the forefront when it comes to social issues, black causes, e.g. an example given, Black Lives Matter. What we see on YouTube, a lot of these men have self-proclaimed themselves as spokespersons for the black community. Have you guys accepted these men as male leaders, even if they're zesty and they have feminine traits? I need to know. I seen earlier in the chat, some of y'all wrote 2. I don't even think I seen a 1 in the chat earlier. Sugar Bun wrote a 2. Nobody wrote a 1. As far as like, should we be more sympathetic towards Diddy? Does he have more of a, should we be more compassionate and understanding? Those are the words that I used earlier. Or should we blame him? Should he have known better as a kid? That was number 2. Sugar Bun wrote 2. So thank you, Sugar Bun, for participating in that. I appreciate that. But yeah, should we, have y'all noticed that? And let's just be honest. Let's just be honest. A lot of these men, they're very sensitive to women issues. It seems like they're chivalrous, but really, they just identify with women. And I'm not talking about nobody in particular. It's just what I've noticed and what I've witnessed in today's society. It's been a growing epidemic of these type of men in society. When we talk about we don't have enough male leaders, before P. Diddy got arrested, we looked at P. Diddy as a male leader. We know before R. Kelly got accused of his first young victim, we looked at R. Kelly as a male leader because they had money. But I tell y'all this all the time, just because you got money doesn't make you a leader. I tell y'all that. Nobody want to listen to me. Y'all always get fooled by the money. Right? Y'all always get fooled by the money. Just because you got money doesn't make you a leader. But before these guys actually got accused or any insinuations that these guys were sexual deviants or they participated in sexual deviancy, we looked at them as leaders because they was popular. And I think for a lot of times in the black community, all you got to do is become popular or be the most popular guy in the room, and they'll throw the leadership role on your ass. Right? They'll throw the leadership thing on you. But when we closely examine these experiences and situations that young black boys experience, and when they grow up, right? Because let's just be honest, these experiences don't take away from them being intelligent. These experiences don't take away from them being smart. It just don't. They can grow up with these same experiences, these same horrific experiences, these same experiences that ended up confusing them sexually growing up, and they still can make straight A's in school, and they still can excel in college and achieve things at the highest of heights. A lot of times we black people, we like to stereotype people because you look a certain way, because you act a certain way. It means, we're going to put you in this intellectual box. No, you can be gifted and a degenerate at the same damn time. So if that's the truth, what classifies as a leader? What is the true definition of a male leader, a black male leader at that, right? Shout out to my brother Antoine. Thank you, Antoine, for your $20 super cap. Let me check your tab. Okay, so you got $5. So that put you at $25. $5 more, you will be a co-sponsor. Shout out to Antoine for his $20 super cap. He says, there was a situation that took place in my family some time ago when my niece told me, I told her to tell her parents. And good for you, Antoine. Ever since then, we have a very strong relationship where we can speak more open about things. Shout out to Antoine, man.
No Cap-tivity.
Shout out to Antoine. And we need more elders like that. We need more examples like that in older people, right? With the kids. Because that's what it's all about, for kids to feel safe. For kids to feel safe, man. Shout out to Antoine for helping us keep the light. So I'm gonna go and give you the big light for that $20, man. $20 or over. $20 or over, you gotta get the big light. That's just the way it is. $20 over, you gotta get the big light. But and here's another question, right? Not only should we completely blame people like P. Diddy, should we completely blame people like R. Kelly or Chris Brown, right? Or any more of these black quote unquote leaders or high value men that commit these type of atrocities or get caught committing these type of atrocities. Not only should we blame them entirely, but also, I forgot my second point. Not only should we blame them entirely, wow. But should we also, okay, here we go. Not only should we blame them entirely, but how do we improve these conditions from getting worse in the future? Especially with what parents are faced with. I'm talking about even good parents with smartphones and all that kind of stuff. I'm talking about parents that's together in the same house. How do we prevent it? How? Is Kamala Harris going to do the trick? Is going to the polls to vote, is that going to do it? Black people being heavily involved in the voting process, that's going to do it. Is Kamala Harris going to answer our problems? Is she going to make black conditions better, especially for young black boys? Is Donald Trump going to make black conditions better for young black boys? I agree with Sugar Bomb. What's at the heart of all these issues? What's at the heart of all of these entertainers' problems that we talked about when we examine it? When we take a close examination of the issues, right? What's at the heart of it is bad parenting. Yes, I agree with that. It's bad parenting. But how do you call it? Like, this is what I've noticed. Why are black folk so afraid to have podcasts or live streams or videos calling this stuff out and attacking these issues to its core? Even if it's even if it involves a lot of criticism with Black parenting in connection to sexual molestation, sexual assault, physical abuse. And in my humble opinion, I just really feel like Black people pay too much attention to the wrong things and the wrong issues in our lives and in our community.
No Cap-tivity.
Super chat. Shout out to Antoine again. And if I'm not mistaken, Antoine has just became the official sponsor of tonight's show with a total of $35. His $10 puts him over the sponsorship mark. He is the sole sponsor. Shout out to Logic for being the initial sponsor. I appreciate you. Antoine does get the big light. Yes. Thank you for helping us keep the lights on, Antoine, in a big way. Antoine Supercap says, also, I built strong dynamics with my other nieces who were also victimized. Something like this doesn't happen overnight. It's about being consistent with everything.
No Cap-tivity.
Something like this does not happen overnight. I noticed that Antoine used the word victimized. This is essentially what I've been trying to convey to the No Cap crew this entire live stream thus far, all up until this point. Were these men victims at some point? Do victims eventually make other victims? Do victims eventually cause other people to be victims as well? Shout out to Antoine, man. Thank you, Antoine, for the $10 super cap.
No Cap-tivity.
We got another super cap. Antoine pushed the sponsorship, I think, if I'm not mistaken, up to $40. Shout out to Antoine for the super cap again. Antoine says, well, for the $5 super cap, Antoine says, it all goes back to what Charles Barkley said 30 years ago. Parents should be role models. Parents should be role. Yeah, that's a good point, because when Charles Barkley said that, I ain't gonna lie, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way, because I'm like, damn, you know, these people are stars. They're superstars. They are very popular people. And we see them all the time in the camera. But now that you mention it, Antoine, that does, Charles Barkley's comment does kind of hit home in 2024. Yes. The parents should be the real role models, not Charles Barkley. Right? Because we don't even know if he's a good parent. But shout out to reminding us of that comment. I appreciate you. And that, let me see. So Antoine, that raises Antoine's sponsorship up to $40. Shout out to Antoine with a total of $40 sponsorship. To be the co-sponsor of tonight's show or the sponsor of tonight's show, it has to either be $40 or more. Some people already have some stake in the game with their super cap, so I'm adding everything up. I see Joseph, I see Stan Joseph, I see Mo Love, I see Kia, and I see Logic. They already got some stake in the game. Let's see. Thought I seen. Oh yeah. We got another one. We got another super cap. Shout out to Stan Joseph for the $5 super cap. He said Clive Davis had has share of blacks too. Oh, Clive Davis has had his share of black folks too. Gatekeepers need to be stopped. Blacks and browns are expendable when it comes to this subject matter. Yes, blacks and browns, yes, are expendable. Yes, that's a total fact.
No Cap-tivity.
Shout out to Stan Joseph for the $5 super cap. I appreciate you, Stan. Thank you for helping us keep the lights on. That's a fact. And a lot of people look at us as low-hanging fruit, to Stan's point. Black people really are expendable. And if we take a step back and look at this whole situation from a macro level, black people, if the black person was, think about this. I'm about to say some deep stuff. I need y'all to give this some thought, what I'm about to say. If black society was one person as a whole, if black society made, let's just say we all came together and formed one person, like Voltron, what kind of experience do you think that person would have had from a child to now? Do you think that one large black person would have experienced a lot of sexual molestation? Do you think that one black person would have experienced a lot of broken households, single parent households? Do you think that that large black person, that Voltron black person, would have experienced a lot of verbal abuse, a lot of confusion when it comes to their identity, a lot of misleading when it comes to religion? A lot of lost identity? A lot of insecurity. If all black people came together and formed one black person, one huge black person, what would that black person look like? What would that black person look like? Have y'all thought about that? Well, most black people aren't going to think about that because we don't never want to look bad. We don't never want to be reminded of the things that might make us look bad and might make us feel inferior. But the only way to get better, hopefully some of y'all know this, the only way to get better is to face these things and to tell the truth, right? No cap, right?
No Cap-tivity.
Only way to get better is to face these things and tell the truth. When it comes to black men in society, when it comes to young black boys, black women, and shout out to Lady D. Thank you at the very least for being here. But when we got black women say, black women, and I usually don't read comments if it's not a super cap or a cash out. But I'm gonna read this just because it's a teachable moment. When we got women that say, "Are black men under attack?" I have one response for that. It ain't so funny when the rabbit has the gun, is it? These type of comments and these type of approaches to, and I don't even know if this is a black woman because, you know, I can't see her face. I don't even know if it's a woman. But when we see comments like that, and much respect to you, no disrespect, Lady D, but I'm just using your comment as an example. When we see comments like that, right? All it does is perpetuates the sad horrendous shameful and embarrassing experiences that black men have experienced. The reason why I'm having this conversation is the main people that black men need reassurance from, other than their own black brothers, are their black sisters. But do we really care about that one large black person as a whole and how they look? At this point, do we really care about that large black person and how they look? No, we don't. I don't think we do. I don't think we really care about that Voltron black person. We don't care about how it look. Or if we do care, we're just gonna keep it. We're just gonna keep it on the wraps and keep secrets. We're just gonna, ignore. We're just gonna ignore the alarming things that one large Voltron black person has gone through for fear of looking bad and being embarrassed. And the representation of that one large Voltron black person is evident in black society today.
No Cap-tivity.
That's why I made a conscious decision to say, hey, the road that I'm going to take is going to be a difficult one. It's not going to be a popular one. It's not going to be the role and the conversations that most black people want to have. But hopefully we got enough decent black people out there, and white people, and Hispanic people, and anybody else that wants to participate in these type of conversations, that care enough to make things better going forward. Right? And everything, if you notice, right, this is not just a black man problem. The only reason why, this is not just a black male problem. It's a black female problem too. It's a black woman problem too. Because everything that I said that potentially has happened to young black boys, everything that I've said, and shout out to the 38 people that hit the like button. Hopefully we can make it 40. Everything that I said that has potentially happened to young black boys, guess what? We can reciprocate that with young black females. The same thing has happened to young black females. I can have this same conversation that I've had thus far about black men. I can have this same conversation about black women. I can have the same identical conversation. Sexual molestation, physical abuse, verbal abuse, sexual confusion growing up, sexual promiscuity, being subjected to a lot of hypersexuality at an early age. I can attribute this not only to black men, but I can attribute this to black women too. I can attribute this on why we got somebody. Is it fair for black men to criticize the growing number of sexy reds in society today? Is it? Or should we be responsible enough to just break this stuff down and really look at the core issues surrounding people like this? And most people aren't going to do it because they don't really give a damn. Most people, I'm going to tell y'all something. Most black people, all they really care about is themselves and their own well-being and how they look and how they what they can get out of life, what they can get out, get it how you live, that's get it how you live. Let me straighten up my head. Yeah, but The reason I can attribute these same issues to black women, to black girls. That's why when I talk, right, even when I'm talking about relationships, right, I'm not very hard on black women. I'm not hard. I call out the poor behavior. I call out the poor conduct. I call it out, right? But at the same time, I don't harp on black women. I don't just try to crush black women's souls. I don't make comments like, it ain't so fun now that the rabbit got the gun.
No Cap-tivity.
I don't make comments like that. Because at the heart of a black woman issue, at the heart of a sexy red, for example, it could be sexual molestation. It could be sexual abuse. It could be immense verbal abuse from a young age, physical abuse, all types of abuse. Not to mention, it could be all of those abuses at the same time in one. Like, there's somebody that experienced all of these abuses together. Right?
Super chat.
Shout out to Antoine for the $5 super cap. He said, one of the reasons why incidents like this aren't addressed in the black community, we're afraid to face the monster that we may have helped to create. And that is a big no cap.
No Cap-tivity.
Big no cap. Shout out to Antoine again for the $5 super cap. What does that make you, Antoine? Let's see. 5, 25, 35, 40. That's 45. Shout out to Antoine. So the new number to be a co-sponsor is $45, man. Thanks to Antoine. Shout out to Antoine, man. Shout out to Antoine. And hey, that's the thing about becoming a sponsor, right? Every time, after you become a sponsor, every time you leave a donation, you get the big light every time. Right? You get the big light every time. What I'm gonna do, I'm interested in hearing from the audience. I'm going to take some calls for a short amount of time. We're almost at the 3-hour mark, so we got a few more minutes to spare. I want to, if anybody wants to call in and express and give their take or add to the conversation, by all means, call in. You're more than welcome to do so, but it's obvious. You already know that. So let me put the link in the chat. Let me see. There we go. Y'all like my new avatar? I changed it from the logo. I just thought it was time for a change. That's why I changed my damn logo. My avatar. Y'all let me know if y'all don't like it. I wonder why. Oh, there we go. Let me pin it to the top. There we go. Yeah, that's more like it. Let me get some water, y'all. Another thing that black men do a lot is they compare themselves with other black men a lot. they compare the level of success that they have with the level of success that they perceive other black men to have. So what that does is that takes our focus off of what's more important, like being a good father. Right? It takes the focus off of that because we're so focused on competing with other men and being just as important or gaining just as much popularity as we perceive other men that we've paid attention to for an allotted amount of time. That becomes our goal, to be just as important. And then a lot of envy and jealousies infest us. And then couple that envy and jealousy that we experience later on in life, couple that with the molestation and the physical abuse early on in life. I'm just telling you right now, when we have these type of conversations, therapy, mental health awareness, mental health counseling is a must. It's mandatory. Like, I needed therapy. I needed mental health when I was a child, when I was looking at pornography with my dad. Right? I needed it back then. I just didn't know it because my daddy was very much against mental health therapy. My dad was very much against seeing a shrink. He used to talk down on people that partook in that type of I don't know, counseling or whatnot, right? He used to talk down on people like that because, you know, so often in the black community, we're perceived as weak. And I was always, especially as a young man, I'm gonna bring you up in 1 second, Antoine. Especially as a young man, we're competitive. We don't want to be seen as weak. We don't want to be seen as vulnerable. We don't want to be seen as soft, especially for black men. That's why you have more young black women. That's why you have more young black women that's encouraged to go to therapy than young black men. That's why you have more young black women that's willing to go to therapy than young black men. Right? And this is factual. I'm not just making this up. But before I go any further, let me welcome my close friend and my brother and the sponsor of tonight's show, Antoine, in the building.
No Cap-tivity.
Antoine, first of all, how you doing, sir? How you doing, bro? It's good to see you. Can you hear me, Antoine? Antoine, Antoine, I think you on a delay.
Can you hear me?
I hear you now, yeah, but can you
hear me now? Freezing?
Yes, yeah, I hear
you.
I
can't see you, but for some reason I can't hear you.
You might need to drop. Let me write in the chat. Let me hold on.
Yes, yeah, I can't see you, but
you might need to drop down and come back.
I can't hear you. You might need to drop. Let me write in the chat. Hold on. Yes, yeah. All right, can you hear me now, Freezy?
Yes, can you see me?
Yes, yeah. All right, can you hear me now, Freezy? Yes, can you see me? I can't see you, but I can see you from my other phone. That's why I got my other phone set up.
Okay, look in the chat. I told you to drop down and come back up.
I can see you from my other phone. That's why I got my other phone set up. Okay, look in the chat. I told you to
drop down and come back up. I don't know what's going on. And I don't know if you're using Chrome. I don't know what you're using. Either Chrome. I know I've heard that Firefox is good, or Edge. Chrome or Edge. I mean Edge or Firefox, right? I heard Firefox is good too. Hopefully we'll get Antoine back very soon. Sorry for the technical difficulties, y'all. Stan said facts. Shout out to Stan, man. But we're gonna wait on Antoine. I was very interested in hearing what Antoine had to say. Antoine, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're coming in real good now. Thanks.
Okay, good.
I can hear you.
Okay, good. So, very quickly, what do you want to add to the conversation as far as black men that end up committing the same atrocities that potentially was committed to them, and how society does not hesitate to criticize these men heavily, like what we're seeing in P. Diddy, R. Kelly, Chris Brown. Do you think that it's warranted that we take a closer look at or that we also include what happened to them as children? Do you think that it's warranted to include that in this whole process? What do you think? Or do you think when they become adults that they should be responsible for their adult actions? What do you think about that whole thing? I mean, I know I said a lot, but just shoot. Just go ahead and shoot, bro.
No, I got it. I got it. Even though you came in choppy, I did get what you said. The problem with a lot of the celebrities you mentioned is I don't know if they've ever spoken to someone about it or ever addressed it when they were younger.
Mm-hmm.
And because it was never addressed and it was never dealt with, they took those actions as adults and probably did the same thing to the people they were victimizing. So it's very hard to have sympathy or empathy for them, because if you're 9, 10, 11 years old, you know better, but not really, because you're at that age where you're still trying to understand and figure things out. Once you turn 18 and above and you're an adult, you totally know better. You know right from wrong. Plain and simple. What we're not doing, and that's why in the last Cash App, I said that's one of the biggest problems we have in our community. We don't address these issues. We don't face it head on because, like I said, we're scared of that monster. We may have contributed to that monster being created in some way, shape, or form. And it gets to a point where I get we blame certain things. We blame the system. We blame the status quo. We think we're looking for reasons, and all we're doing is we're giving excuses. And there's a difference between the two. And it gets to the point eventually that we have to give that reason, and that reason is we don't talk about it enough. We don't talk about it at all.
Right.
And that's always been the problem for a very, very long time. So
yeah, I agree with you.
It all, like I said, it all starts at home. And I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight, but the problem is we have to learn to take a different approach when it comes to things like this. We have to take a more proactive approach on this. And the reason why I'm sharing things that happen with my family is because people need to know this stuff. I remember sometime back at a gathering, it was just me, my wife, my brother, his wife, my sister, and a couple of cousins.
Mm-hmm.
And when when we were just, celebrating, just having a great time, and we mentioned the name of a particular cousin who's no longer with us, my brother had a certain reaction. And when we saw that reaction, we kind of just left it on like, okay, you know what? We're not going to say his name anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my wife and I talked about it. And my wife asked me that question. Do you think something like that happened to him? I was like, I wouldn't be surprised, because the way he reacted, you know, says something. My wife was also a victim of this. So she told me what happened to her when she was younger. Um, the incident that I'm bringing up, and I'm trying to be very careful about what I say, because it's a very still touchy subject, even though it's been some time since what happened.
Right.
One of my nieces came to me about what happened, and that's why I said, you had to tell your parents. She'd be like, please don't say anything. I'm not going to say anything. But it has more weight coming from you than does coming from me. So you have to say something. And then I started doing certain things, because this was my brother-in-law, my wife's brother. And he was also keeping an eye on our daughter while we were at work, because both my wife and I used to work overnights. My wife still works overnights, but I don't. So every time I ran errands, I took my daughter away from him. I went and brought my daughter with me when I had to run errands or do certain things. And when my niece saw me doing that, that was my signal, letting her know, I believe you. You need to say something. She took the initiative, and she did. And when she did, it just opened up it opened up a can of worms. It got real ugly. It got serious. And I remember when my wife told me what she found out from my sister-in-law, I was like, he has to go. And it just, let's just say that a lot of things came out that no one saw coming.
Mm.
And I basically just told him, you're no longer part of this family. You need to leave. I'm not going to stop her from pressing charges against you, but I'm not going to stop her if she wants to press charges. So once, I had to have the cooler head, because my sister-in-law, the mother, she lost it. My brother-in-law, who was staying with us at the time, who just finished up his time in the Marine Corps, was staying with us temporarily, he lost it. And I literally had to pull them off just so nothing would happen to the one who did what he did, because that would have been a lot harder to explain to the authorities. So I had to really pull them off. I had to keep a level head, which was not easy. And that's when I told him, you're no longer part of this family. You need to leave. Whatever happens, happens. And that's something you're going to have to deal with. And I remember later that night after he left, my wife, my sister-in-law, and my brother-in-law had this look on their faces that they were fractured. And the last time I saw them with that look was the day their mom died. And I never thought I would ever see that face again. The following day, my niece that told me almost felt guilty. And I said, no, you are not wrong. You said something. You stood up to him, and I am proud of you. It is not your fault. And ever since then, she's always came to me about stuff. Her sisters have always felt comfortable to come to me and to talk and everything else to help them deal with a lot of this. And that's why I've always said, it's not just the parents. We like to say it takes a village to raise a child, but the uncles, the aunts, the godparents, the older brothers, the older sisters, the cousins, everyone has to play that role when it comes to the well-being of the next generation of your family, because these individuals are going to help lay that foundation. And people keep forgetting about that. It's always about the little things. Like, my wife and I come from a very, very different dynamic. I'm the middle of three. She's the oldest of 10. and 2 of her brothers have autism, and I helped her raise her 7 brothers and sisters after their mom died. Helped her take care of her 2 autistic brothers as well, which is not that easy. And this is before my wife and I got married and before we had kids of our own. So I practically helped raise her brothers and sisters, and I helped my sister-in-law and her husband raise their kids. And it was difficult, it was a challenge, but I helped in some way, shape, or form to show them that life doesn't have to be about survival, that it can be about thriving and growing. And my nieces have a very strong relationship with me because I've been there for them in that situation. My nephews, their brother, felt angry that they couldn't do anything because they didn't know, but I told them, do not blame yourselves that the fact that you felt like you couldn't protect your sisters. If you feel bad, how do you think I feel? How do you think your parents feel? How do you think everyone else feels? None of us knew about this. So don't put that weight on your shoulders because you feel like you failed as an older brother. You didn't. All right. So it was important for him to know that. And it was important for him to hear that too. And the one thing I told him and the one thing I told my brother-in-law, who was also angry about what happened, we're going to get through this as a family. And it's taking some time. But we found a way to move forward from all this. And not move on, but move forward. And the individual who did all this, like I said, is no longer part of the family. Let's just say he's a guest of the state. And once he gets out, he's on his own. So I already told him when he turned himself in, 1, it's time to grow up because you've hid behind your sisters for too long. You didn't like the fact that I was hard on you, but I was hard on you for a reason. Also, I was trying to encourage him when he was about to go to college, go live on campus, because later on we found out he was victimized. But the reason why I was pushing him to go live on college campus, if he was in a situation away from home when he was ready to open up or what happened, at least there was someone there that he could open up with and open up to. But he chose not to. He took his trauma and put it on them.
So
and that was unfair.
The victimizer, you guys ended up finding out that he was victimized as well at a young age, but you guys didn't know it prior?
No. We did not know. We didn't find out till sometime when everything happened. When my niece finally opened up and said something to her mother, and then after everything calmed down and he left, my wife spoke to him, and that's how my wife found out about what happened to him when he was younger by one of their mother's boyfriends. And I always was the one to push them, not to push them, but to encourage them. Don't ever feel afraid to say something. If something doesn't feel right, if something makes you feel uncomfortable, come to one of us, sit down, we'll talk, and we'll come up with a solution to whatever it is. He never tried to do that. So it's very difficult for me to feel sorry for him.
Okay, now we're getting to the core of what we're talking about.
No Cap-tivity.
Shout out to Candid Ann. OMG, Candid Ann, it's so great to see you. She said, good evening, Freezy. Thank you for gracing us with your presence, Candid Ann. It's so good to see you, Ann. Of course, I pray for you. Shout out to Candid Ann, and she knows why I'm saying this. I'm not going to mention why I'm saying it, but she knows. And I hope that God has been blessing you, and I know he has been serving as an enormous presence in your life thus far. Shout out to Candid Ann for being here. Thank you, Candid Ann. I really appreciate you.
No Cap-tivity.
And thank you also, Antoine, for sharing what you shared about your niece and your nephew, right? Was it your nephew that was
Well,
victim?
my nieces were once said that I was victimized. No. He felt angry and felt guilty because he's the big brother. He's
Okay,
supposed to
who did
protect
you?
his
Okay,
sisters.
okay,
I
but
think any man, any guy that knows when you're that big brother and you have younger siblings.
the boyfriend,
I'm listening.
the mom's boyfriend is the one that victimized your niece.
No, no, the mother's boyfriend victimized my brother-in-law.
Okay, your brother-in-law. Who you say
My
victimized your niece
brother-in-law.
again?
My brother-in-law.
Okay, your brother-in-law victimized your niece. Okay, thank you. Okay, so this is what I want to say.
Yes.
Being that we know all of this, and first off, salute to you for being that bridge for your niece. A lot of victims aren't even fortunate enough to receive that kind of or to feel like they have that type of protection amongst them. So shout out to you for being a man, first of all, and then standing in the gap for your niece and serving as a sense of security for your niece. A lot of kids do not have that type of that type of guardianship or protection, in their life, and it goes un it goes unaddressed, right? But I want to say, what I want to ask you is, and I'm gonna call it this just because this is what I'm feeling right now, but the degeneracy that we see in the Black community, the degeneracy that we witness, and also what we're talking about right now. Do you think that this degeneracy is going to increase going forward, or do you think that we have enough awareness about these type of issues to where it will decrease? What do you think, Antoine?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think it gets to the point on one side we have to accept the fact that these things have been going on for so long and we have to face that monster. So maybe it will increase awareness. I think also what it will do is it decreases trying to see the perpetrators as victims. Because if you were young and you did this, if you were like I said, 11, 12, 13, 14 years old, and you did this, you know better, but you really don't know better. Once you turn 18 and you become an adult, you should know better. And I think it all goes back to a lot of stuff that we've never done in our community. We need to address these issues head on from the jump. We always say, oh, just pray on it. And whatever your belief system is, whatever faith you follow, I'm not knocking that. But in the immortal words of Michael Basin, prayer is not a plan. And that has been the problem for a very long time. We don't put more action towards that. If you're going to pray that you find someone that's willing to listen. Pray that you find someone that's going to be understanding. Pray that you find someone that's going to help you with whatever happened and you can move forward with your life. You still have to put the work in. You still have to take that action. You still have to be proactive. Use prayer to make sure that you're guided in that direction to where all the decisions and choices that you make are the right ones. And that's all I got to say. And those are some words we're thinking about.
So I personally think that the degeneracy is going to increase. I think that what R. Kelly experienced as a young kid, Chris Brown experienced as a young kid, and a mass amount of young young black kids across America experience, I think it's going to get worse. That's just my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right about it. But if that is the case, Antoine,
No, that's understandable.
if that is the case, how do you perceive we get a mantle on this? How do you perceive that we put a stop to this, or make it, or decrease the statistics of young boys and young girls having these horrific experiences at a young age, at an early age? What do you think is the main key answer to addressing these type of issues? What do you think, Antoine?
It's about everyone that's looking into this. They have to whatever mindset that you had, whatever mentality you had, in approaching issues like this. If you've had this approach where you didn't want to address it, or you took that approach like, oh, men don't cry and so on and so forth, you got to learn to change yourself. You got to learn to take a different approach towards it. You got to learn to have a different attitude towards this. You could teach boys to become men. You could teach them how to be resilient, but it's okay to let them know there are going to be moments and situations where you're going to cry. Know when those times and moments are going to happen. If you feel like you're going to do it, you can do it behind closed doors. That doesn't make you less of a man. But sometimes there are times when you're going to have to learn to stay strong, and there are times when it's okay to let it all out. And we have to, and that is what has to be taught to these boys, that there's a time and a place for everything. You don't have to cry for something small and simple, but it's okay to cry for something that gets to you at a point you never thought it would get to you. I mean, when a couple years ago, I lost my best friend right around after my youngest daughter was born. And I remember speaking to him sometime after my youngest daughter was born. And I was going to ask him to be her godfather.
Mm-hmm.
And right before I even got a chance to even ask him and say those words, he was just like, say no more. That was December of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
He died day after Christmas that same year. And I remember getting the call from his ex-wife when she told me what happened. I was in shock. And I was like, you're kidding. And we just talked for a few minutes. And then I remember coming inside my house. And when I told my wife what happened, I just broke down. And I think that was the first time I cried real hard for someone in a very long time. And I just said, I lost my best friend. And my wife just saw the hurt that I was feeling. And my wife didn't think I was a punk. She didn't think I was weak. She knew I just lost someone that had that plays that much of a role in my life. And I know I'm sounding like I'm about to probably cry because just thinking about it, but that's how much he had an impact in my life. And this was someone that I met. It was a chance meeting. We were living in the same apartment building, but we grew up in the same social circles. We went to private school. We went to all boys high schools. We both played lacrosse, little things like that. So we grew up in those same circles. And I didn't know how just meeting him on the front stoop of my apartment building and just talking about some things and what interests we shared grew into one of the most beautiful friendships I've ever had for over 15 years. And when I lost him, it hurt. And my wife saw the hurt on my face. And I remember when I posted on Instagram, my brother called me up and asked me if I was okay. That was the first thing he found out. He was like, yo, you all right? I just heard. And he came over just to make sure I was okay.
Well, here's the thing though, right? Like, we're men and we have feelings and we have affections and stuff. you know, what you're expressing right now is important for other black men to see, especially other young black men to see, because it's imperative that black men get to express themselves. You know to do it because you're at an older age right now, and if you don't mind me sharing this, well, I've shared it. We've shared this with each other. You know, I'm in therapy. You're in therapy. You've been in therapy longer than me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I can imagine that you've grown to a social maturity and a mental capacity, a mental maturity to where you feel as though it's not wrong to express yourself, you know, the way you're doing right now. But so many young black men, so many young black boys do not express themselves, especially if they have gone through very difficult experiences throughout their young life as far as the abuse is concerned, different type of abuses. And when I said I do feel like the degeneracy in black community and with black people and with the black kids, male and female, is going to get worse. I wasn't saying that in a derogatory way. I was saying that in a concerning way. And I do think the only way to diminish this rate of exhalation of increase, this rate of increase in degeneracy, because I call it all degeneracy, right? But I'm specifically honing in on the abuse tonight. I think the only way to stop it, or if not stop it, because let's just be honest, we'll never completely stop it, but the only way to slow it down and to make a substantial decrease in it is to have more responsible parents. Shout out parents. Shout out to Sugar Bomb earlier. I totally agree with Sugar Bomb when she was putting a lot of the responsibility on the parents. When we talk about black people, when we talk about the black community as a collective, black parenting seems to be a very concerning issue, right? We talk about relationships all the time. We talk about dysfunctional marriages all the time. But what we don't talk about and what we don't bring attention to enough is black parenting, not black relationships. If we put more of the emphasis on having more healthy environment for kids, and if we make that a quota, right? If we make that a standard, that's the word I was looking for. Shout out to Charles Coulter in the building. Shout out to Charles Coulter in the building. If we make that a standard, by default, because we're so concerned about making better environments for your kids or your future kids, because we're so concerned about that, by default, we're going to be more careful on who we actually choose to lay down with and have sex with and possibly marry in the future. We're going to innately be more concerned about that. But at the heart of this concern should be the kids, even the kids that you have not even conceived yet. I'm talking about the kids that you wish to have in the future that's not even came about physically. So exactly. The reason why we have these ditties and the reason why we have the R. Kellys The reason why we have the Chris Browns is because it's bad parenting. That's why I don't participate in a lot of these conversations.
Oh, definitely.
That's why I don't participate in a lot of these conversations no more. And quite frankly, I don't give a fuck if you like me or you don't. Because I've been saying this and I've been screaming this from the beginning on this platform. I really do care about the kids. Now, I care about my black brothers and sisters, but I'm not finna sit up here on this platform and just protect these grown-ass women and pander. I'm not finna do that. No, I care about the kids. Where are the kids in all of this hoopla? Where are they? What kind of shape are they in? Where are your kids? Do you want your kids to go through this same vicious cycle? And that seems to be perpetuated. That's going to be perpetuated for a very long time, might I add.
Oh, true, true. And that's also, I think, one of the problems is
you stepping in and serving as a refuge for your niece is monumental, because what you possibly did, especially with you staying in contact with your niece and checking on her, what you possibly did was potentially break what could be a vicious cycle, a repetitive vicious cycle within her. See, when I say how important what you did was, I'm not just trying to patronize you. No, I'm being honest. What you did was very monumental and is very important, because the vicious cycle, without that, the vicious cycle is going to continue. We need more people like you, but more importantly, we need more responsible parents. Right?
Oh, I agree. And that's always been the problem, is you got some parents who are overly concerned about being their child's friend and their social status. Don't be their friend. Be the parent. And I guess the way I am when it comes to looking after my nieces and nephews, looking after my goddaughter who has 2 children of her own, my wife and I fostering our eldest daughter, who's now a mother herself, and we have a 3-year-old grandson because of her. One thing I've learned from my father, who's still in the picture, he and my mother have been married for 54 years. Learn to give a fuck. Learn to give a fuck from day one. And
hold on, let me give you a bomb on that. No Cap-tivity. I had to give you a bomb on. Go ahead, Antoine, because you seem like you're finna cook.
And that's what parents have to do. Don't be their best friend. Be the parent. And maybe from my time in the service, I've learned this, and I remember saying this in a situation that happened with my daughter, with my eldest daughter.
Mm-hmm.
When she got into a situation, I told her friend, my wife is the shepherd, I am the sheepdog, and she's not part of my flock. And that was something that my daughter never got in any of the other foster homes she stayed at. She never had anyone really take her in and give her that validation. And I was the first man to give her that validation. And I told her, I know I'm not your father, but give me a chance to be your dad. And when she saw that for the first time, it was like, wow, so that's what this feels like. Because when I was talking to her friend and telling her how I roll and how I do things, the first time she called me by my name. The second time she called me by my name. The third time she said, Dad, stop, that's enough. And I've been dad ever since.
Well,
and I always told her, I'm not going to make you call me that.
let me get your opinion on this,
But
Antoine.
I also told her when it
Okay, I'm sorry.
happens, just be consistent. So I've always
Mic check. Okay, can you hear me,
I
Antoine?
guess what it is, I kind of take that, and I remember seeing it somewhere on social media. I've learned to have that Uncle Phil approach. I'm gonna be tough, but I'm still gonna make sure I care about your well-being.
Can you hear me, Antoine?
And I think that,
I don't think.
yeah, I can hear you now. And I
Okay.
think that's just what it is. It's that. Oh no, continue. What you about to say, Freezy?
No, well, you made a comment saying that you told you told I don't know if you was saying you was talking to your daughter, or you adopted a daughter or something like that, or your niece. I forgot exactly what you said because I was trying to get my mic right. But you told them that your wife. What did you say, Antoine?
My wife is the shepherd, and I am the sheepdog.
Okay,
And
this
this
is
is
what I was
when
going
we
to
were
say.
fostering our eldest daughter, who's 20 now.
Right, you was fostering your eldest daughter. Do you think, for all intents and purposes, right, just for the sake of the conversation, do you think that dynamic between you and your wife would be more effective with your foster child as you being the shepherd and your wife being the sheep? Or why did you say, why did you arrange it like that? Why did you say your wife the shepherd and you the sheep?
I said I'm the sheepdog. It's kind of like a term used for people that are in the military. We do whatever it takes to protect the flock. We're the protectors.
Okay, so
my wife's the guide. I'm the
so
protector.
you're saying you're in front of the shepherd.
You know,
You're in
like
front of the shepherd,
we always say,
protecting
the
everybody.
mothers are the nurturers and the fathers are the protectors. Say again.
So you're saying the sheepdog is in front of the shepherd that protects everybody. That's what you're saying. Can you hear me?
Exactly. Yeah, I can hear you now. It's just coming in a little choppy. That's all.
I say. So
like
you're saying that. So you're saying that the sheepdog is in front of the shepherd and he protects everybody. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, the sheepdog protects the flock from the wolves. The sheepdog goes after the wolves.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah. Okay. Well, we'll go with your. I just like the men being the shepherd. I don't know. It just sounds better. But no. More importantly, yeah, I commend you. And here's the thing. We know that P. Diddy, and let me get your opinion on this one too, Antoine. We know that P. Diddy participated or even spearheaded a lot of these freak-offs, including drugs, alcohol, a lot of exotic amenities like baby oil and all that kind of stuff. Lubrication, dildos. His sexual premise, it went to lengths unimaginable by your average man. Like, he had a very big sexual appetite. Would you say because of what Diddy was escaping and the trauma that he was escaping, do you think this is a big part of the reason why he consistently indulged in these type of sexual behaviors and drugs? Do you think he was running from something? Do you think this is, and also, do you think this is a normal characteristic in trauma victims? What do you think, Antoine?
I do see your point in that. And yeah, I think it is because you're doing whatever it takes to numb the pain, to not think about the pain. And I think the one thing also people forget when people are victims of something like this, it's about control.
Mhm.
He went through a significant amount of extent. He went above and beyond in so many ways to make sure he was the master of everything that he surveyed. He made sure that everyone signed NDAs as they came to these parties. He made sure people surrendered their cell phones. He was doing everything to make sure that he was in total control and no one else had a say in it. That's what he was doing. And he probably was doing that because if something like this happened to him when he was younger, people forget when you're a victim of something like this, you have no control. And I think that is why he went to so much extent with everything he did, because he wanted to make sure at the end of the day, he controlled the narrative.
But do you think his sexual
That's the
appetite?
best way I could take it to put it.
Do you think that he kept up these sexual practices for so long on a consistent basis because he was trying to what am I trying to say? Run away from his problems, but he was trying to eliminate, or I don't know. What do you think I'm trying to say? I'm trying to say run away from the trauma that he experienced in the past.
I guess what you're trying to say.
He was using it as a coping mechanism, right? That's what they would say in the therapy world. He was using all of those things, all of the extreme sex and hypersexuality, the drugs, and how extreme it was, right? In its own characteristic way. And in the nature that he was doing it, in the extreme nature that he was doing it, you think that this had became like a coping mechanism for his own traumas that he experienced in his past life at a young age? What do you think, Antoine?
Oh, definitely. I think what it was is because when you look at how far he went, to the extent there were no boundaries. Plain and simple, there were no boundaries. So it sounds like if he was victimized at a young age, whomever did it, whether it was a man or a woman, they didn't establish any type of boundaries whatsoever. No boundaries were established in any way, or whatever boundaries that was supposed to be there were faded away and changed the dynamics in so many ways. And whenever it stopped, or if it ever did stop, if he was a victim of this, those boundaries were never reestablished. That's basically what it is. And that's why I think he went all out with all his parties and all of this. And because he was never shown or taught or explained the significance and the importance of the boundaries, he just basically had a no holds bar approach. And it was probably difficult for anybody who knew him to go to him and just say, Sean, you've gone too far, or Sean, that's enough, or Sean, what are you doing? And that's, I think, the thing that people forget. We're so focused on always saying Diddy and P. Diddy and Puffy and Puff Daddy and so on and so forth that we forget his name is Sean. And I'm guessing the only person that probably called him Sean was either his mother or maybe any of the women that he dated. And I think that was the problem, was if you're a real friend, somebody could have pulled him to the side and say, Sean, this got to stop. And people were probably afraid to do that because they did not want to be on the outside looking in with all this that they were probably benefiting from as well.
I totally agree. Man, shout out to Antoine.
No Cap-tivity.
Antoine, man, I want to thank you. I'm getting ready to wrap this thing up. You got any last words you want to say before I close this thing out?
Yeah, I definitely do. Thanks for having me on and everything else, and thanks for letting me speak out on how something like this affected my family, and hopefully my story, what happened to my brother, what happened to my nieces, what happened to my daughter. Hopefully, whatever I said here will help others who were probably victimized to go seek help and go speak to someone about it. Hopefully, this will let anyone know that it's not okay to be a victim. What happened to you isn't right. What happened to you isn't fair. There are people out there that are willing to help you make sense of what happened and to help you move forward with your life. That way, hopefully, you don't do the same thing to someone else that was done to you. Because sometimes a lot of people don't recognize it until it happens, and by then it's too late. So, anyone that has been victimized by this, there are places to go. There are people you can talk to that can help you in understanding what happened to you and your trauma, and you can move forward from this. To a lot of parents out there, these conversations are difficult. And it's a lot more difficult now than ever before because our kids are growing up in a world that, Freezy, you and I didn't have to deal with. The internet and social media. We didn't have to worry about a lot of this stuff when we were younger. And I'm not saying that we were sheltered, but in some ways we kind of got away with little things and we were a little naive, and it was okay to be a little naive. But what the internet and what social media has done, it took away that ability to be naive. Because now it's all out there. So that's why parents, I've learned this since I was a kid from this nun, God rest her soul. She said this when I was a kid. She said it when I was in high school, and she's continued to say it to the day she passed on. Parents are the first teachers. So parents, be that first teacher to your sons and your daughters. Help establish boundaries. Lay a foundation. Learn to build a dynamic where you can talk about the difficult and the uncomfortable stuff. Way if something happens, you can build something to where your child, your son or your daughter can come to you and not feel judged and not feel like you're holding them over a barrel in any way, shape, or form, or to make them feel uncomfortable. Because it's better for our children to come to us for the answers than looking forward through social media that may give them the disinformation and the misinformation, and that can make things worse. So, parents, be the first teachers. I know it's not easy, whether it's you're co-parenting with an ex, whether it's just the mom or just the dad. Have people around you that can help you and play a role in all this. And if you have nieces, if you have nephews, if you have a goddaughter or godson, if you have younger cousins, be that individual, be that role model, be that mentor, be that person to let them know that you might be seeing a lot of this stuff that might be nonsense, or you're not getting this information from so-and-so, but guess what? You can still come to me and I will give you the real, and I'll make sure you get all the information you need. And I think that is where it's important. And the reason why I have that dynamic with my nieces and nephews, they can't ever say, I didn't know, no one told me. Because I make sure I do my part to tell them. And they may hear from my aunt,
I think he kind of froze up.
ever
Right
say,
okay, there you
no
go.
one didn't tell me this.
Man, shout out to
Sorry about
you.
that.
No,
But
shout out
like
to
I
you,
said,
Antoine. Go ahead,
they
bro.
can't
Finish your
ever
thought.
say, because the house I live in, and all I can say is, as long as they know that information, as long as I give them the information, hopefully they make the smart decisions. I can't protect them from everything, but what I can do in my part is to give them the information that they need to know to make it easier for them to make whatever decision they have to make. That's all I got to say. And those are some words worth thinking about.
Man,
Thanks, Reezy.
shout out to you, bro.
No Cap-tivity.
Antoine, thank you, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. And everything what Antoine said, the parents should be the first teachers. That's what Antoine said, and I highly agree with that. I strongly agree with what Antoine said, everything Antoine said. And I just want to reiterate, salute to Antoine for, you know, what he shared about his niece and him stepping up and becoming someone that she could confide in and be secure with. Shout out to Antoine, man. Those are the type of men that I keep talking about. You know, we need more men like Antoine. We need more men like Antoine. We've reached the end of tonight's live stream. I thought tonight's live stream was very meaningful, very enlightening, and full of substance. It's about time for the benediction. Let me see. We got all super caps tonight. We got all super chats tonight. We didn't get no cash outs. Can you believe it? No cash out. Let me see if we got a PayPal, because I hardly ever check the PayPal. Let me see. PayPal login. Okay, we didn't get a PayPal either yet. So yeah, it's just all super chats. But let's do the benediction. Let's get a scripture that's going to sum all of this up. How about we do that? Let's see. Section in. Okay, here we go. Here's one scripture. I might give two tonight. It seems like it's warranted. The first scripture, Psalms 82:3, where it says, "Give justice to the weak. Give justice to the weak and the fatherless. Maintain the right of the afflicted and the destitute." Maintain the right of the afflicted and the destitute.
No Cap-tivity.
Give justice to the weak. Give justice to the weak. Here's our last scripture of tonight, Ecclesiastes 4th chapter and the 4th verse. The first verse. Ecclesiastes 4th chapter and the first verse. It says, "Again I saw all the oppressions that are done under the sun." This is Solomon speaking in Ecclesiastes. This is Solomon speaking at this time. Solomon said he's seen all of the oppressions that are done under the sun. He says he's seen it all. He's seen women get raped, children get raped. He's seen men get murdered. He's seen it all. This is Solomon. So when we read these scriptures, let's not take these scriptures for granted or read it in a lighthearted manner. No, it's very serious. Solomon said, again, I saw all the oppressions that are done under the sun, and behold, the tears of the oppressed, and they had no one to comfort them. Right? This is why I said Antoine was a blessing to his niece, because she had someone to comfort her. Right here it says, and behold, the tears of the oppressed, and they had no one to comfort them. On the side of their oppressors, there was power, and there was no one to comfort them. So this is why I urge us to come to, to stay studying. This is only for the believers. And if you're not a believer, I'm not trying to force you, but for the people that's willing to understand that our true answers is with the Most High God, the God that created us, the great creator, the one that woke you up this morning, the one that made it possible for you to breathe, the one that made it possible for you to walk, and the one that made it possible for you to have a better life than some people that are worse off than you. Yes, this is who we need to come to. Him, and only in him should we actually trust, right? And go to and find answers and wisdom. And people that absorb this type of wisdom, the people that dedicate themselves to the Most High God, for the most part, you can trust them too. I can tell you right now, you can trust Freezy. I have subjected myself to the Most High God and his teachings and his wisdom. Now, this is not popular, what I'm saying. Most people don't even care about what I'm saying because it's not interesting enough. But for the people that this message touches, for the people that this message actually reaches out to and they can identify with it, I urge you to stay with this platform and to stay connected to your brother Freezy, because I do care about you and I love you, along with other brothers and sisters that has reached this type of spiritual maturity, especially on this platform. This is a special platform, especially in this space, which we've been trying our best to separate ourselves unshamefully, and unapologetically, right? It's for a reason, because we want to get better. We want to get healthier. We want to have a healthier mind state. We want to have a healthier mental state, so that we may be able to bless others as well in the near future. That's the goal, for us to be better as a whole. And that black Voltron that I was talking about earlier, for that large black Voltron to be healthier too. That's the goal. That's the goal. Shout out to everybody that made it to this point. Shout out to the No Cap crew that made it to this point. The late No Cap crew, right? And shout out to Patricia Mitchell. She's been very Patricia Mitchell, I've been checking you out in the chat. You've been very involved in the chat and very you've been participating a lot in the chat. I don't know the word. Very participant. Is that the word? Very participant is okay. But yeah, I appreciate you. Nonetheless, I appreciate you. Thank you. And I feel your spirit as well. Shout out to Travel One. Thank you, Travel One. Travel One always wishes me and Queen Freezy a great morning. Thank you, Travel One. I appreciate you. And once again, I want to thank my guest, Antoine, for coming up and giving us all of that light, sharing all that light that we needed to hear. Well, he served as a light this evening. He really did, and he was a blessing. Shout out to Antoine. We really appreciate you, brother. And shout out to Stan Joseph. I seen you in the chat as well, Stan. Thank you, Stan. I seen Jerome. Shout out to Jerome. Candid Ann, once again, Candid Ann, thank you, Candid Ann, for gracing us with your presence. And shout out, Lost Away, thank you. I didn't get a chance to say what's up to you earlier, Lost Away, but shout out to Lost Away, Los Away, for being here. I appreciate you, Los Away. And shout out to Sugar Bomb earlier too. She was very involved in the chat. I think that's the word I was looking for too. Very involved in the chat. Right? Let me make sure we don't have any cash apps. No cash app. But shout out to everybody that gave super chats, right? Shout out to Mo Love again. Thank you, Mo Love, for your $5 super cap. Shout out to Kia for your $2 super cap. Shout out to Stan Joseph for your $2 super cap. Stan, shout out to Stan Joseph again for his $5 super cap. Shout out to our first sponsor of tonight's show, Logic, for his $30 super cap. Shout out to Logic, man. Thank you, bro. I appreciate you for being the first sponsor of tonight's show.
No Cap-tivity.
Appreciate you, Logic, always, man. I really appreciate you. And last but definitely not least, shout out to the sponsor, the official sponsor of tonight's show, Antoine. Shout out to Antoine for being the official sponsor of tonight's show. Words cannot explain when you guys support this platform and show that you guys want to strengthen this platform and keep messages like this going forward. Words cannot explain how much appreciative I am of you guys. And once again, thank you to the official sponsor of tonight's show, Antoine, with a total of $45. Thank you, Antoine. I appreciate it.
No Cap-tivity.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, y'all, we about to get that. We about to get ready to get the heck up out of here. I appreciate y'all. This was an excellent live stream. We had so many jewels that we passed around to one another, from the panel to the chat. Thank you. This has been an excellent show. If you're just coming in and you're watching the show and you care about these type of topics, share this live stream. Share this live stream to it, and guess what? Share it to adults as well as kids, because I think this live stream was worthy of being shared to people that actually need to hear this message for encouragement. And become a part of the No Cap campaign. Share this live stream to any one of your friends and family, or any one of your social media platforms that you see to the right. And I really do thank you in advance.
No Cap-tivity.
I thank you in advance. We've reached the end of tonight's show. I appreciate y'all, and y'all know what I always say. To free yourself, you must heal yourself. And until the next time, we out of here.
No Cap-tivity. Freezy.